sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Vance.
Well, no seat out today, Rob. He is, quote, on assignment, so to speak. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton, The Drive, so plenty of Kansas City Royals talk, plenty of Kansas City Chiefs talk coming your direction on this hot July day. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July. Seriously, that was fun. A lot of people took Thursday off, Friday off, Saturday off, Sunday. We did here at the station, Rob. I mean, it's been since, Wednesday that you guys were coming. It was a nice 4-day holiday. Did you have a good 4th of July, Rob? Forgot to ask you.
I did. Spend some time at the pool, play a little golf, some.
So you say little golf. Does that mean
one round? Just one round.
Oh, one round.
One round. It was a little hot to be out there more than one time. But yeah, I had a very nice 4th of July weekend. Did you do anything fun?
You know what? Not a lot. Not a ton. Not like it used to be, with the million fireworks, those kind of things. Did I watch a lot of baseball? Yeah. Ended up watching a lot. Not just the Royals. I watched a lot of Major League Baseball. And, I'm getting excited because we got NFL football at the end of the month, It was starting to prepare myself for the season.
Knowing you probably watched Joey Chestnut.
You know what? That's the thing, Rob. Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, am I glad that he's back? I didn't know how big to make this thing, because you guys know what he means to me. You guys know what Joey Chestnut means to me, and I think he's starting to grow on a lot of people, because Joey Chestnut really signifies the 4th of July, and the fact that he wasn't in the hot dog eating contest last year, it sucked. It was like an abyss. Something was missing without the great Joey Chestnut winning his 17th mustard belt this year. But that was fun, man. I'm sorry. But the hot dog eating contest, whether you like it, whether you think it's disgusting, because I know a lot of people do, I don't. It's become a big part of a tradition. It's America, fireworks, you name it, Joey Chestnut eating those hot dogs. I happen to love it. But I've seen more and more people really start to like it. And don't forget, back in the day when I was doing the day shift with Henry, we had old Joey come in here in 2 studios. So Joey's actually come and visited us live, and that was a great thing to have him doing it. But I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. I can't believe it's already July 7th. I'm just looking down here, 2 weeks away from Chiefs camp, the 22nd? 2 weeks. Like, it's 2 weeks, and then it's go time for the Kansas City Chiefs. That is hard to believe. This is what happens when you play in February every year in the Super Bowl, that all of a sudden just hit you. I mean, OTAs are well done. The mandatory mini camps well done. It's sitting. Hopefully nobody gets in trouble. You show up to training camp, do the deal. Revenge tour begins the minute those pads come on in St. Joe. Chiefs are doing a little bit different this year, because in previous years, the quarterbacks and rookies would show up a couple days before. Andy Reid kind of clarified that at the end of minicamp, that it's everybody together, because it's always been that way. At least, Robinson's always been that way since you've been here, because it's always been that way I've been here, where the rookies and quarterbacks show up early. They make a big deal. Andy Reid talks to the dorm with the guys bringing their microwaves or TVs or whatever they have it. But no, it's everybody going together. And, of course, it takes about 3 days before teams put on the pads and get going in earnest. But, yes, the Hall of Fame game, the final day of this month, July 31st, will be that. The Big 12 has already put out the preseason All Big 12 team. Don't know if you saw that earlier, but, of course, Big 12 Media Day is about to start. Starting tomorrow. SEC Media Days come up July 14th. That's when you start seeing these lists, because everybody's there. They get the whole media down there that covers these teams. Boom, they put up these lists, and you have that. I'll be honest with you, when I saw the Big 12 preseason, Big 12 team, does it really matter? No, it doesn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things. It's how you finish, not how you start. But just seeing that it's out there, that was like a rite of passage point, so to speak, Rob. Rite of passage. Just like at the beginning of June, I went on about the football magazines, preview magazines, because that's, and I know you can get them online, and you can get them on your phone and whatever, but I like having that nice hard copy of that. The All-Star game, clearly, I waited around. You knew Bobby Witt was going to be an All-Star, right, Rob? This wasn't even in the back of your mind. He was 100% going to be an All-Star. So was there any surprise for you? There wasn't for me. None. You knew he's going to get there.
In was not a surprise. The way in which he got in was the surprise to me, because I thought he would be a coach's pick or maybe a pick by his peers, but the fact that whatever they're calling it, the commissioner, the MLB list, whatever little cutesy name they gave this thing, he needed the third wave of help to get in. That part was surprising to me.
So Jeremy Pena, the shortstop for the Astros, is having a great year, by the way. He's hitting over 300. his power numbers right there with Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt's actually got more home runs by like one. He, of course, has more stolen bases. Bobby Witt Jr. is, fourth in Major League Baseball in stolen bases. He's number one in doubles. He's got 30 doubles. The nearest to him in Major League Baseball is 25. So we knew Bobby'd get there, but I am surprised like Rob. We knew so he didn't get the vote. We already knew that. That's what came out. And you go the rookie in Oakland. That's going to be your starter at shortstop. You're thinking, oh, Bobby's going to get in with the players. Well, maybe the players and managers that voted on this, obviously it's a big sign of respect when your peers vote for you to be in the All-Star game. Maybe they assumed that when the commissioner got a hold of it, he was going to throw it in there. But the reason they do kind of breaking the votes in the thirds with the fans vote, the players and managers, and the commissioner, basically they do that so that nobody really gets left out. That also they determine who doesn't have a representative. So that's why a lot of times those guys are thrown in there by the commissioners. Like Clayton Kershaw got like kind of like what do they call it, Rob? The
legacy
pick where Kershaw got in, which, by the way, I'm 100% fine with that. I don't know if you saw the 3,000 Ks for Clayton Kershaw the other night, but it was fun to watch. But anyway, Bobby gets in with that. Well, Chris Bubich got in as well. And Chris Bubich deserves to be an all-star. There's no question in my mind. Chris Bubich, to me, and I know Noah Cameron's had a great year, and he's been a huge surprise for this team. I mean, I love this dude and what he does, man. I love having him in the rotation, love the potential. But Chris Bubich, to me, was the Royals' kind of biggest surprise for what you thought you had and what you actually got. Like, that's an elite-level player the way he's performing, and he deserves it. Now every starter in the Royals' rotation actually has been to the All-Star game now or gotten the All-Star nod with Chris Bubich getting that. So that's cool. But he was a commissioner's pick to the All-Star game. And they deserved it because you look at this pitching staff as a team, the ERA, fourth in all of Major League Baseball. Still, I mean, this is the way they were, trending in April and May. And, we're sitting here on July 7th. They're still fourth in Major League Baseball. Third in the American League. When you put the starters, relievers together, third in the American League, fourth in baseball, just the starters, just taking the starters out of it, fifth in all of Major League Baseball, third in the American League, and then just use the relievers, sixth in all of Major League Baseball, fourth in the American League. So, hey, that part of this team is elite. It's what you thought it was going to be. I mean, keep this in mind that number 2 and number 4 in the AL Cy Young voting last year. You've gotten it was Lugo and Reagans, and obviously Reagans has been hurt. Lugo's had his issues as well, but he's been really hot as of late. But those aren't the guys you've been counting on for this team. That shows you how deep they are, the number 2 and 4 in the Cy Young. And this pitching staff's as good as they were last year. It's because of guys like Chris Bubich. Guys, at the back end of your rotation, you're thinking, all right, this team is only going to be as good as Bubich and Lorenzen and what they can do. But Bubich has stood up. And when they had their players-only meeting a couple weeks ago here at Kauffman Stadium, is that Oakland series. They had the players-only meeting, and you heard about all the players talking and the hitters. And, yeah, it's great. Salvador Perez would talk, or Bobby Witt Jr. They're the team leaders. That's great. I was sitting here going, did the pitchers talk? Because the pitchers are the ones carrying the stick for this team. This team would have 5 or 6 more wins, hell, some of the time if they've just scored 4 runs. Like, this pitching staff is why this team even has a chance still to make it the postseason. They deserved an all-star from this pitching staff more than anywhere else because of how damn good this pitching staff is. So, yes, I'm glad Chris Bubich is going to the all-star game because this is what's carried the Royals. And when a players-only meeting and all that, yeah, I want to hear from Waka, Seth Lugo, those type of guys. They've seen it all, done it all. This is the elite part of this team. And the lack of respect some of the Royals are getting, like Bobby Witt Jr., and I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. And I know that Cody and Gold are doing the Witizens. They were walking around with these wigs and crowns on. Very nice. You see that, Rob? They really bought into this, and they're doing it. The Witizens is really cool what Cody and Gold are doing. And he needs that run. I don't know why. Is it maybe his interview style? Is it, which is fine with me. I mean, he's just to the point. He's a ball player. I mean, that is a major league player. There's a reason why he's starting for Team USA at shortstop. He's a ball player. And there's not a single major league team that wouldn't want Bobby Witt Jr. on their team. I think he's often forgot about a lot. You had all the, Jack Caglione, everybody talking about Jack coming up. And let's not forget how good Bobby Witt Jr. is. Bobby Witt Jr. finished second in the AL MVP. Bobby Witt Jr. is probably going to be the closest thing we've seen since George Brett with the Kansas City Royals. And I know Sal Perez here and all that, but Bobby Witt Jr. is a special player. And the fact that it came to a commissioner's list to put him on the All-Star team, I'm sitting here going, all right. Is it because I can't say national ads either. I can't say that because Oakland A's wouldn't have a starter in front of Bobby Witt Jr., would they, Rob? I mean, they wouldn't have that at all either. So I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is. Is it why is Bobby Witt Jr. not getting the run that he so honestly deserves in Major League Baseball? Because he had a slump there for a while? I mean, what is it? Why? I just don't get it.
I would point to name recognition, but I feel like after Bobby was in the playoffs last year, Bobby put on a show at the All-Star Game Home Run Derby last year, and Bobby was runner-up to MVP, you'd think the name recognition problems would dissipate. But if you had to point to one thing, and you asked me to point to one thing why Bobby didn't catch the respect, I think it's name recognition, which is just sad. It's sad for Kansas City.
I mean,
it's sad for
Wilson,
Bobby.
I get he's good,
Yeah,
but who the hell knows who he is?
His dad was a former ball player who was a pretty good player in Pittsburgh in his own right. And he's, was once a top prospect, so prospect hounds know his name. I don't have an exact reason, but if you're asking me, I would say it's because he's a Royal and he doesn't have the household brand name recognition yet. That Jerry Pena is not the world's best shortstop, but he's on Houston. So, there's a little bit of, he's an Astro. I can't point to one singular reason, but if you had to guess, I would say it's because of lack of name recognition.
I guess that, his dad was a Major League player. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Bobby Witt doesn't have that genes with Major League Baseball. You finished number 2 in the Cy Young. You're starting for Team USA as shortstop. He was the number 1 prospect there for a while in the minor leagues before he jumped up here. Bobby Witt Jr. is an incredible story, and yeah, I've just, the fact that players and managers, what do you guys want, man? You want power? You want speed? He's got it. He finished his second last year in the Home Run Derby, which that was insane. Very easily could have won it. Very easily could have won the Home Run Derby. And maybe just had he won that, it sparks you kind of in people's eyes and not a Jacob Wilson who's sitting there playing for Sacramento A's at this point. Not taking anything away from Jacob. Not taking anything away. His average is better than Bobby's. But the rest of the numbers aren't. When you go WAR and things like that baseball does, Bobby Witt Jr. is better. Again, Bobby Witt Jr. leads Major League Baseball in doubles. And when he gets on the base pass, the guy's a terror. But anyway, that's the biggest surprise. Yeah, I'm glad they're going. I'm glad Bobby's going. Glad Chris Bubich is going. That's great. Really, really glad Chris Bubich is going because this pitching staff needs an all-star. You're not this good without having, quote, that all-star. So I'm glad that happened. But I just feel like at some point, Bobby kind of gets lack of respect. Kind of the same thing I see with Mahomes sometimes. Three Super Bowl MVPs. And I think everybody's talking about Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, you name it. But I'll tell you this much. Bobby Witt Jr. is just a baseball player. That's what he is. And anybody would be lucky to have him on their team. But he's going for a second all-star appearance. So props to Bobby doing that. Of course, you can go watch him in the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. Unfortunately, I can see Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens, they went ahead and started him yesterday. So you're not going to see Paul. You know what? Weren't you looking forward to a 1-0 game, though? Like a 1-0 Paul Skeens loss? Because that's what it would have been, Rob. He consistently goes out there and deals, 5 innings, 6 innings, and the Pirates don't score. So it's got to be frustrating to him. But coming up next, ESPN put out, it says, surprise players for each NFL team. A little bit surprised who they picked for the Kansas City Chiefs. Let you know that next.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
This summer, Casey's has 89-cent fountain and frozen drinks. But if you don't have 89 cents, you could check your center console, or dig between your couch cushions, or ask Grandma for $1, or just use your credit card. We take those too. 89-cent frozen and fountain drinks at Casey's all summer long. Restrictions may apply. See store for details.
This week only, go to Peter's Clothiers to get half-off suits by Jack Henry. Choose from many colors and sizes. Peter's Clothiers, 124th and State Line. This week only, Jack Henry suits are half off. Come in today, only at Peter's Clothiers.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-518-3899. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-518-3899. That's 800-518-3899. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
All right, Takis fans. Wendy's knows you love your Takis Fuego chips. So we thought, why not make a Takis Fuego meal with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich with spicy chicken topped with crushed Takis Fuego chips and creamy corn spread. Plus, it comes with Fuego fries inspired by Takis and a bag of Takis Fuego chips. If we had any more heat, we might start an actual... I told him this would happen. For an intense new take on Takis chips, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Includes 1-ounce Takis Fuego chips while supplies last. Takis and Fuego trademarks are used under license.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back to The Drive. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton with you up until Josh Vernier takes over talking about a little Royals and Pirates. By the way, I know the Mets have been here since the 2015 World Series, but it is fun that the Mets will be here this weekend. I'm actually looking forward to that, Rob. And it's perfect. 10 years. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years since the Royals played the Mets in the World Series. That was fun, man. Like that was nothing beat. 14 was fun. Going to the World Series, playing the Giants and all that. But 2015, man, that was so fun because it's before the Chiefs kind of went on their run here and everything else. That was an all-timer. That was an all-timer, that 15 series with the Mets. I don't know how you felt about that, Rob, when you saw that, but was that one of your best memories in sports, do you think, that 15 World Series?
We've talked about it, me and Carrington on the show before. The 14-15 run with the Royals felt like such a fever dream of, like, it came out of nowhere. It felt like, we knew the Royals were okay in 14. They got red hot in August. They then made the playoffs for the first time in my lifetime. And it was like, oh, man, then the wild card game. And it feels like it all happened in one big season. It was playoffs, losing to the Giants, Royals come back, they start throwing at people, and then they're the best team in baseball for a while in the AL in 2015. And then you look up and they're back in the World Series. It was honestly some of the most fun I can remember. And I still think, if people are being honest with themselves, the Royals run in 14 and 15 has been more fun as a city than the Chiefs run have been, because the Chiefs run's been sustained success. This is what we expect. It has become the norm. The Royals were like, came out of thin air and just grabbed the city took the city by storm. It was really, really fun looking back at it.
Would you think the Chiefs, if I said, would you put your money on it, Rob, the Chiefs would win 2 more before the Royals win just 1 again? I mean, that's not too far-fetched, is it?
No, that's probably the number, 1.5, but another 2 Super Bowls is a lot.
Like, I mean, but with Mahomes there and the way this team's been, the fact they've gone to 7 straight AFC title games, like, it's tough to bet against that.
It is. I mean, it's very tough to bet against, but I mean, it's hard to. I mean, it makes it sound like Super Bowls are guaranteed when in reality they are, in their own right, extremely difficult to acquire. Chiefs fans learned that last year, maybe the hard way, as they got walloped in New Orleans.
It's tough, but yeah, I remember 14 and 15, just fun, just every single night. I mean, it was much watched TV, what the Kansas City Royals are going to do, or must listen to if you're in your car and you're listening to the radio, or you're sitting on your deck with a beer, just get done mowing, let's see what the Royals are doing. But 13 kept us interested. 13 kept us interested all the way to the final weekend of the season, because the Royals weren't officially eliminated until that White Sox series, the last series of the year back then. But man, 14 and 15, that was just different, man. Just a different feeling. And I'll never forget the fans. Just they'd be watching Quick Pitch or whatever, and the Royals highlights would be put on at the end. Like, what are they doing, man? They made the World Series in 14. Why aren't they getting the respect in 2015? And you know what? They earned that respect. You're in the World Series in 14 and 15, despite what anybody nationally, MLB Network, ESPN, you name it. They have to cover you. They had to cover you. I remember just sitting in that parking lot as we did our shows live there before their games, and you'd see ESPN with the Sports Center set, MLB Network guys were walking around and everything. It's like they had to come to Kansas City. They had to cover this team because the Royals forced their hand because they made it all the way to the World Series, and they said, you're going to cover this team because guess what? You're not covering the World Series unless you cover the Kansas City Royals. But, man, I digress. That was just opened up fun times in Kansas City. And, of course, you got the World Cup coming next year. You had the NFL draft here. The sporting landscape in Kansas City is so much different than the way it used to be. The 3 Super Bowls, Mahomes and the Chiefs since then, what the Royals did in 15, winning it all, that band, just banner crazy, man. But this town, it's just different, man, because it wasn't like this, man. It just wasn't like with Royals, going dormant between 85 and, 2014 as far as, punching their ticket and going to the postseason. 21 years for Chiefs playoff win. Now we're looking at a guy like Mahomes that's got 17 playoff wins. Yeah. There's kids that were born that then legally able to sit in a bar and drink a beer in the time that the Chiefs won a postseason game. I mean, you don't take this stuff for granted. But anyway, with the Mets coming, I plan on going to a couple of those games this weekend, Friday and Saturday, because I want to feel that again. I want to feel that excitement again. I can't wait. But ESPN, as they're currently in their list season, and we'll get to what maybe Patrick Mahomes thinks about list, because he told Kay Adams today, the Up and Adams, Kay Adams podcast that Mahomes did, He spoke about the list in the NFL Top 100 that's currently out. And last year, of course, he wasn't number one, but we'll get to that. But they all have their list. Top quarterbacks, top divisions. I mean, you name it, there's always a list. Put a list out, and they got it. So ESPN was tasked the biggest surprise for each team coming out of training camp or going to training camp. And when you think of Chiefs, what are you thinking? Who's going to be the biggest surprise? You can text in 913-586-7965, the J Southland Tow Service text line. Feel free to text in who you consider maybe going to be the biggest surprise for the Kansas City Chiefs, what you've maybe seen or heard from rookie minicamp and mandatory minicamp and the expectations going forward. You would think, okay, maybe it's George Karlaftis. He's already a guy that's been a damn good player, but you think, all right, this is where he takes that next step. This is where he gets that career high in sacks. This is where he gets 12 sacks in this season. Maybe it's Trent McDuffie just, solidifying himself as the best corner in the National Football League. Maybe those are your choices. Maybe Isaiah Pacheco, has that complete bounce back and finally gets 1,000 yards. He hadn't got, of course, has been injured. Last year, he's got a couple rings. Think, okay, maybe it's Isaiah Pacheco because they bring in Kareem Hunt. They go out and get Elijah Mitchell, draft Brashard Smith, and maybe having the pressure and other guys to look over your shoulder, you think maybe that's the guy. I don't know, man. But ESPN picked Brashard Smith, the 7th round running. I know Rob loves running backs, man. I know Rob is big. I'm kidding, by the way. I think Rob likes him, but maybe not in the first round or second round. Well, Brashard Smith, Rob, is 7th round pick, man. The Chiefs got you know what? As Chris Unocero and I sat here covering the entire draft, we kept doing? Waiting and waiting and waiting. Is it going to happen? Is it ever going to happen? Then, boom, the 7th round, they make a trade with the Patriots. They go out and get Brashard Smith out of SMU. And this is what ESPN said about him. Said, judging from how he was utilized in offseason practices, the Chiefs have plans for Smith, a 7th round pick out of SMU. Smith was a wide receiver in college. He was a wide receiver down at the U before really not having much wear and tear on his body until this last year when he was at SMU. But regardless, they say Smith was a wide receiver in college before moving to running back for his final season. And the Chiefs showcased his versatility by getting him the ball out of the backfield. From the slot, split out wide, Smith, of course, ran a 4.39 40 at the combine, so will fit in with other fast players. They mentioned Xavier Worthy. By the way, that's 4.21, fastest 40 time ever at the combine. Hollywood Brown, which is a 4.29 guy. And then they put Elijah Mitchell, which, by the way, ran a 4.32. And also, don't mention my dude Tyquan Thornton, Rom, who's going to be trying to make this team as a 6th or 7th wide receiver. Do you realize that Tyquan actually had a 4.21 initially, and they thought he broke John Ross's record? This before Worthy. Did you realize that's what they clocked Tyquan at?
I didn't know Tyquan was your guy either.
Well, he's not, Rob, but he hit the camp guy. So Tyquan, he's not. But I'm rooting for Tyquan, all right? I heard good things about Tyquan. So I've always, he was 2nd round pick, but he ran a 4.21. That's what it was clocked at. But then when they go back and look at the tape and the film and everything, they end up giving him a 4.29, which it's nothing to sneeze at as far as that's concerned. But there was about an hour or so that he thought he was the fastest man alive and beating John Ross's 40 time. But regardless, the Chiefs are just fast. They're just the speed is back, man. This team has the speed. But Brashard Smith is interesting to me. And there was other running backs that went a lot earlier in the draft that you're kind of hoping for, or at least I was. I know Chris was. We were looking and saying, all right, the Chiefs going to get, Quinshon Judkins, but no, the Browns going to take 2 running backs, which is crazy. So all of a sudden you sit here and you go, Brashard Smith. Well, he's got that SMU going for him. Of course, Clark Hunt from SMU. But Brashard Smith is interesting. I don't see him as a bell cow. Matter of fact, I look at this draft as a lot of role players, to be honest with you. There's a few guys you would say, all right, this guy is going to be a starter. Like Josh Simmons, probably going to be a starter. Whether it happens this year, later in the year, or next year, obviously the injury, the patellar tendon, it's going to take Simmons a little while. But clearly, that's going to be a starter. I think Noel Williams could be the starter for this team out of this rookie class that we have. But Brashard Smith's who they put. And you think about it, Rob, I can't think of a guy more perfect for what Andy Reid wants. I mean, this is getting the ball. And, of course, the Chiefs had, only 6 passes last year, over 25 yards, air yards. This is a guy that can do it. The wheel route out of the backfield, he can do it. Like, I can imagine on second down, certain packages. He's split out wide. He's in the slot. He's doing a lot of things besides just being a running back, going to motion, getting a lot. Like they can utilize Rashard Smith in a lot of different ways. And, of course, he can carry the football as well. But using his skills out of the backfield as that receiver, and I know they've worked on Isaiah Pacheco and his hands at training camp and all that. And P. Ryan gave the Chiefs a little bit of that last year, a guy that can steadily catch the ball out of the backfield. And don't sleep on Kareem Hunt. He can do the same thing. But I see Rashard Smith as a type of guy that can make a difference. And I think there's going to be times you look at the Chiefs season and you say, man, it's 3rd and 7. He just ran a wheel route for like 25 yards. Like I can see Rashard Smith doing that. I like it. But again, I'm not saying a 7th-round pick should be your standout guy at training camp to this point, Rob. And I'll put this. Rashard Smith in previous years probably would have been a 4th or 5th rounder, not 7th.
So I don't want to come off like I'm anti-Rashard Smith. But if Rashard Smith is the biggest surprise to the Kansas City Chiefs, it means one of two things. One, Isaiah Pacheco got hurt again, which is possible. He battled injury most of last season. I know that he battled a little bit of a nagging injury the year they beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Isaiah Pacheco could get hurt. That happens to the position. Or two, Kareem Hunt continues his regression, because as much as he was when he first showed up in Kansas City last year, super important to the Chiefs finding some success, he ended the season with, a 3.8 yard or even maybe worse than that per carry.
Yeah.
He was a little bit of volume, not quality type running back. Either he's going to continue to regress and not be the guy Chiefs fans think, or Isaiah Pacheco gets hurt, because the way the depth chart is currently listed, Rashard Smith is a 3rd stringer. So for a 3rd stringer to be a surprise, you're going to have to do something pretty impressive to surprise people, not just be a rotational, makes a few plays, a few ooh and ah moments. So I don't know he's a good surprise candidate because, and maybe it's semantics, I don't know what a surprise would be for Rashard Smith, because I don't think he's getting more than 250, maybe 300 yards on the ground this year, unless something is going wrong at the guys in front of him. And in that world, I don't think it's a surprise.
I'm with you on this. Like, shockingly, when it comes to running backs and stuff, I've kind of backed up a little bit when it comes to them and their value. And I know that everybody was enamored by what Saquon Barkley did last year. Look, an NFL running back and be the difference on your team. And yes, Derrick Henry did great things in Baltimore, although no rings. Yes, Saquon brought a ring, but the Super Bowl wasn't about Saquon. I mean, he was just a piece. That the Super Bowl was about their defense. And it was about Jalen Hurts. It was more than that than Saquon Barkley. But they got there because of him. I'll get that. But how would you say the carries? Because I definitely have my thoughts on the wide receivers as far as the kind of yards I expect from them. And, of course, Rice is the wild card there because we don't know if there's going to be a suspension or not. Maybe there's not. There probably will be at some point, but I don't want to really put numbers on him. But as far as running backs, I'm curious your thoughts on that, Rob. Like who you'd have as the leading rusher. Maybe does anybody even get 1,000 yards in your mind?
I actually am right now buying Isaiah Pacheco stock.
Okay.
I don't know that he's going to be a 1,000-yard guy, but if you look back at, I believe it was 2 seasons ago when he was at his healthiest, Isaiah Pacheco was a 900-yard type of back. So I think Pacheco can get back to that. And by the way, that was with Jerick McKinnon on the roster. That was not just, hey, it's Isaiah Pacheco and no one else. They had other guys on the roster.
And keep in mind that last 2 years McKinnon was here. The first half of the season, he was only a blocking back, right? Before they started utilizing him. Just to keep the wear and tear.
So I think you're going to see the bulk of the yardage come from Pacheco. He's going to be a 900-yard type of back this year. Right. I think we're going to have a conversation in about 6, 7-ish months about if the Chiefs should be looking to extend Pacheco. I will be saying no on that date, but I think that's a conversation that's coming because Pacheco is going to get back to being healthy. I think fans have kind of slept on Pacheco. I think he became a little bit of a whipping boy last year because he came back and rushed himself back from injury. So I think there's going to be 900-ish yards there. I don't know, another 250 to 4 from Kareem Hunt, and then Rashard Smith's kind of a get in where you fit in. So I don't know there's an opportunity for him to be a surprise. But
Will he have more yards receiving than running?
Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
Agree.
But I don't think it's because it's going to be like 1,000 to 500. I think it's going to be like 175 to 150. It's going to be you're going to have to scroll down your Pro Football Reference page to find his stats. I don't think he's going to be the top of the page.
No. Do you think, how many running backs do you have him keeping?
3. I think Carson Steele is going away.
You think he's going away? You don't think he'll be purely identified as fullback? I know he can do both, but that is a role in a position where they can say, "All right, you're technically our fullback, and we're going forward with you."
Let me ask you this:
Because that could happen.
How many tight ends do you have them keeping? Because that's always I feel like
3.
It's like Groundhog Day in St. Joe, and I know we're 2 weeks from them reporting to the dorms, and 15 days away from them actually being on the football field in St. Joe. And I feel like the conversation in early August, late July is always this. Are they going to carry a fullback or are they going to carry 4 tight ends? Because remember, they had Blake Bell as that H-back tight end type. Last year they had Carson Steele as a more fullback type. This year, they got Noah Gray. They got Travis Kelce, obviously. They got Jarrett Wiley coming back from injury. And then they have that kid from Clemson everyone's enamored with, Jake, the UDFA. Like, if you're going to make one of them an H-back, tight end type, then I don't think you need to carry Carson Steele. So I have them carrying 3 running backs and 4 tight ends. I think that's kind of what this team likes to do best, like they do with Blake Bell and Noah Gray, and that was when they had, who was the Jody Fortson? That's kind of how I view them this season.
Little Jody.
But I think they're at 3.
Okay, so if you say 3 there, so is Elijah Mitchell getting cut then?
Oh, I forgot about Elijah Mitchell. Then 4, excuse me. I think Carson Steele is out. I think there's no fullback this year. I think it's an H-back type.
So that could definitely be a practice squad guy then.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell, you're saying not just all time, always on the roster, Mitchell.
Correct.
Kind of you can still pull him up for a couple games.
I think he's going to be, who was CJ Spiller.
CJ Spiller, Mr. Stay at the Residence Inn because you never know we're going to call you.
Don't leave the Motel 6, but also don't come to work today.
CJ was a hell of a time. Remember last year with Kareem Hunt, though? And here's the thing with Pacheco. Is he going to get in that circle of trust with Andy Reid? Because what did you notice happen? I know when he came back from injury, I don't think we saw – I don't think it's a stretch to say it wasn't 100% Pacheco. Would you agree on that? Because when you watch the games at the end of the year, it was Pacheco getting the ball. Well, they would use Pacheco until it got around halftime, and then it was Kareem Hunt, and then the second half was all Kareem Hunt on 3rd and 1. 4th and 1 is all Kareem. It's kind of what they did as far as the trusting. Now, as far as tight ends on the roster, Rob, I see Kelce, I see Gray, and I see Wiley. Benning Stool and stuff like that, I can see being on the practice squad, to be honest with you. Now, how many receivers are you keeping? You going 6 or are you going 7? Because I think that does matter.
As I count it off in my head, I have them at 6. I'll do this.
But they're typically 7.
Everyone loves counting on the radio, so here we go. You got your obvious ones, your big 3. Do I need to go through Brown, Worthy, Rice?
I assume so. Yeah, Worthy, Rice, and Brown.
Brown, Worthy, Rice. Juju is safely on.
You think so? Safely. You're saying safely, okay.
I think Juju is a safe.
So that's 4.
I think they're going to keep carrying Sky Moore. I don't think they're giving up on Sky Moore. He's cheap and can play special teams, so I think he's on the team. And I think then you end up with Nico Remigio, and I think those are your 6.
So I have Worthy, Rice, and Brown. Those are the free spaces there. I actually think Taekwon makes it. And I wouldn't rule out Badger either because they really like what Badger can do. You've heard that name. You've heard them talk about that guy. Like that, again, we're talking 6 or 7 because what you want is guys that can be good in the return game because that's going to be crucial for this team. If you're making 6 or 7 spots on this team at wide receiver, you're going to have the return power because now the ball is going to 35 instead of 30. They're going to have that kind of acumen. Juju, probably because he's been here, you would trust that. But here's the thing. You're forgetting about, Jalen Royals, right? So that's, to me,
I did forget.
That's 4 locks right there. So if that's 4 locks, so then we're talking 5, 6, and 7. That's basically Juju, Elijah Badger, Sky Moore, Nico Remigio, Taekwon Thornton. So you got, 5 or 6 guys fighting for 3 spots, Rob. If they kept 3. If they just keep 2, that's 5 or 6 guys for 2 spots. That makes the math pretty tough, doesn't it? That really makes it tough. That goes as far as how many running backs that the Chiefs end up keeping. There's going to be legitimate competition, not for the starters, you see, because we know who the starters are basically going to be for this team, both on offense and defense. But this training camp at St. Joe is going to be about the depth. It's going to be about which corners you're keeping. Can Noah Williams get his way into the starting roster? Can he push Jalen Watson? What's Fulton's job going to be that came over for the Chargers? How much are they going to rely on him? And then the wide receivers, to me, are really interesting because I don't think it's a guarantee even for Juju to say he's on this team. I don't think it's a guarantee to say Sky Moore. I think Sky Moore's probably the odd man out, to be honest with you.
I look at the way they treated Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I feel like me and you had conversations, me and Carrington had conversations. Text line felt like any minute now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be cut, and they just kept bringing him back. They love guys they draft, especially early. I mean, outside of Breeland Speaks, when Brett Veach drafts a guy early in the rounds, he's going to give that guy more than enough time to, succeed or fail. I mean, even Kadarius Toney probably got an extra year in Kansas City, longer than he should have.
No, he did. But Juju obviously has the thing going for him that he played here before. And clearly that made a difference, that even though he went up to New England, didn't work out, it was the fact that the Chiefs trust him. Didn't draft him, but there was a lot of trust in Juju. He's won a ring for this team, so they trust him. I just look at this team and think of Nico and then Juju. I'd put them all in that same category, man. I don't think it's a lock, man. I don't. Because I know they really like Thornton, and I know they like Badger, and I know they like some of these guys, some of these undrafted guys. So I'm just kind of curious how the math works out, how many tight ends. Because last year they kept 7. They kept just 2 running backs. It was just coming out of camp, it was just Pacheco and Clyde that made this team. And, of course, you didn't see Clyde right away. And there was Carson Steele that obviously, led the MAC as a running back when he was at Ball State before he went to UCLA. But they did keep 4 tight ends last year. This is coming right after camp. It was Kelsey, Gray, Wiley, and then Peyton Hendershot. You remember the great legendary Peyton Hendershot? He actually made this roster coming out of camp. So they did keep 4 tight ends. But again, that's sacrificing somebody in the running game because you just kept 2, quote, running backs there beside loading up your practice squad. So curious if that math comes down. If the math comes down, says just Kelsey, Gray, and Wiley, then what are you going to do? How many running backs, how many wide receivers are you going to keep? I think this is where the math gets interesting for the Kansas City Chiefs and which direction they go. That gives you something to go to St. Joe and watch because you're going to be inundated with it. You're going to see it. You're going to get the clips on X. You're going to get the social media clips. You're going to see Noah Gray going deep for 80 yards. And you're like, whoa, look at Hollywood Brown. I mean, that's the kind of Chiefs team we thought we were going to see last year, and obviously that changed with the injuries. But regardless, coming up next, though, we all know the Chiefs played their first game, real game, regular season game in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So coming up next, the steps to Sao Paulo.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
I'm Jordan Robinson, host of the new podcast, The Women's Hoop Show. Each episode, I'll be joined by a rotating group of women's basketball experts to talk WNBA, college hoops, the new Unrivaled League, and the shifting landscape of the sport. The game is growing, and so are we. Listen to and follow The Women's Hoop Show and Odyssey podcast, available now for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Say hello to Wendy's new 2-for-4 Biggie Bundle. Choose from the JBC made with fresh, never frozen beef, crispy chicken sandwich, 6-piece nugs, or small soft drink. Any 2 for just $4. It's like the reunion special you've been waiting for, but the only drama is watching you try to pick just 2. For a deal as fresh as the meal, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Request 2 for $4 Biggie Bundles to obtain discount. Individual items at regular price. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Hey, it's Gold, and Circa Millions and Circa Survivor are back with a massive $21 million in guaranteed prizes. Circa Million. Pick 5 games against the spread each week. 126 ways to win with $6 million guaranteed. Circa Survivor. 1 pick a week. No point spread. Last the longest to win it all. $15 million guaranteed. Enter in Nevada. Play from anywhere. $21 million guaranteed. Visit circasports.com for details.
Ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super size laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
Eat up, buddy. It's almost time for school.
You take charge of your home. You take charge of your work. Don't forget to take charge of your gut health too with Nature Made probiotics. Nature Made has clinically studied probiotics that work with your digestive tract's natural bacteria, so you won't miss a beat in your daily routine. Find us in the vitamin aisle. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
DQ presents How to Make Your Summer Take Flight. Just head into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat. Treat your inner hero to an epic mix of sugar cookie dough, sprinkles, and cake batter flavor. Blend it all with legendary DQ soft serve, and it's enough to tempt Superman himself. Fly into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat before it's gone. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. Only at participating locations.
This afternoon, expect patchy fog with a chance of showers and thunderstorms reaching a high of 90.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Have you heard? The Staples Easy button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples. That was easy.
The dog days of summer are upon us, and in Kansas City, that means one thing.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Chiefs football is around the corner. The Drive gets you ready with a Chiefs topic every day from now until the start of the regular season.
You're gonna have to deal with the Chiefs!
The steps to Sao Paulo.
And welcome back to The Drive as we're getting closer and closer to the Chiefs 2025 campaign. And of course, Rob, things start off in Brazil.
Yep, Bank, today in the steps of Sao Paulo, we are 8 days away from the franchise tag extension deadline, and we are inching closer and closer. Let's talk a little about Trey Smith. Are you confident the Chiefs are going to get a long-term deal done with their right guard? Because both fiscally and for the actual football team on the field, it makes no sense to, in 20 and 25, carry a franchise tag player, even at the tag number Trey is carrying. Are you confident the Chiefs will get a deal done with their right guard before time expires on July 15th at 3 p.m.?
Yeah, because it's one of the few deals in the NFL franchise tags. Teams did not go franchise tag crazy this year, but yes, I think they get a long-term deal with Trey Smith. I'll say this too, Rob. If I told you how many Chiefs players do you think are the top paid players at their position? Take all the starters, take 11 on offense, 11 on defense, throw 2 specialists in there, throw a punter and a kicker in there. So take 24 guys. So to the NFL, top 24 guys on each team, meaning the starters, how many do you think belong to the Kansas City Chiefs as far as highest paid at those positions?
So that's right now, before Trey ever gets extended.
For right now.
Is Kelsey number one tight end? I'm gonna say they're
No.
I'm gonna say they're at one. I know Creed Humphrey's one.
Humphrey's one.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they're carrying anyone else right
and
now.
There's somebody else on
Trey's
defense.
Trey's franchise tag doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Chris Jones.
Chris
Jones won a defensive tackle.
Chris Jones. One specialist.
Butker's number one at kicker.
Harrison Butker. So there's three.
Because Mahomes isn't one. Kelsey's not one. Jawan Taylor might be one among right tackles.
You get it right. It's Humphrey, Chris Jones, and Harrison Butker. Those are the three guys right now. But here's why I put four, because Trey Smith's going to be there, because I think they're going to get this deal done. So that would make the Chiefs having four. And you can't keep doing this, Rob. And it's kind of a blessing and a curse for Brett Veach and the drafts and how good he's done. Because what happens, because you look at this, all right, Creed Humphrey, that's a second-round pick by Veach. Chris Jones, second-round pick, even though it wasn't Veach. It was right before Veach, but he was here, part of the staff. Harrison Butker might go down as Brett Veach's best move he's ever made when he comes over from the Carolina Panthers on that practice squad. Started that 17 season. Remember the redshirt year there for Mahomes when Alex Smith started, but that was Butker's first year. So you're thinking, guys, that he's not exactly grabbing in the first round. You're saying those are the guys you got to repay? No, he's making those guys that weren't drafted in the first round for the Chiefs, which shows you how much more impressive it is considering the Chiefs drafts. I remember 2 years ago going into the season, 21 of the previous 22 draft picks were still on the roster for the Kansas City Chiefs in some shape or fashion, practice squad or whatever, which is unbelievable. But you're thinking, Trey Smith, you're taking sixth rounder, you're going to be paying him like a first rounder, probably going to get highest paid money at any guard in the NFL, a guy you didn't even sniff the first night or the second day of the NFL draft. That's impressive. That's damn impressive. And then you think about the money that L'Jarius Sneed got paid when the Chiefs moved him on to the Titans. You're talking a fourth-round pick. You just think about this team and where they're built. Yeah, Mahomes is a first-round pick. He's living up to that. He's doing it. Kelsey, it was a third-round pick. Obviously not Veach, but still a third-round pick. The Chiefs have made their hay, and they've built their Super Bowl runs on guys that aren't first-rounders. But it gets guys like Trey Smith that I think would have been a first-rounder had not been for the health concerns coming out of college. I think the Chiefs did the right thing. And that was a weird year when Trey Smith was taken too, because remember, COVID was going on, the combines. People weren't getting the medicals until right before. But the Chiefs did a great job in vetting Trey Smith in realizing what kind of guy they were getting. Not only is Trey Smith a great football player, he's a good dude too. And that stuff matters. It's like he's embraced Kansas City. He's embraced charity events. Heck, he goes down to Mitch Holthus' hometown and does things like that because that's the kind of guy he is. He showed up to mandatory minicamp when a lot of times guys with that franchise tag, did it shock you, Rob, that he showed up to minicamp? Because he did. And there he is out there, on the practice field. Did that surprise you at all to see Trey Smith? Because he didn't have to come. Because a lot of times they don't.
It didn't, only because he had signed the tag so quick. If he had kind of waited out the tag and we had been sweating it into training camp, it would have surprised me. But he's going to take his, was it $23 million? Well, I don't know the number.
No, he's going to take it. But Trey Smith is a guy, he's grateful for the Kansas City Chiefs taking that shot and that stab of drafting him and him earning that keep. I'll never forget we did a training camp special up there that first year of Trey Smith, and I'll never forget Mitch Holthus. It was me, and I think it was Dusty. Dusty was with me. We were doing a training camp special, and here comes Mitch Holthus. This is going to be the first day of when the veteran showed up, and it was on the weekend. He goes, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Trey Smith out here with the starting group. And there he was. And he hadn't looked back. It was Trey Smith there. But the Chiefs, they knew exactly what kind of player they were getting. The Chiefs don't exactly draft people that have big injury concerns in college and health concerns in college. They kind of back away from that, to be honest with you. It's not something they typically do. But they did it with him. And they did it with him for a reason, because they know who and what kind of guy they've got. Like, this guy's a pro's pro. And, I know that stuff doesn't really mean a ton, but it's a guy you can stick on your Hallmark movies like they did last year. That's fine. But he's a damn good player. And he's a beast. He's a terror when he's on the football field. You go back to high school, And his coach, tell him, hey, man, you're a big enough dude to start leveling people. And he did, man. This guy is pancake central in what he does. He's intimidating. He brings the swag to the offensive line because nobody's looking for that enforcer, that intimidator. That's him. If you're an opponent, you're looking, hey, you got to face Trey Smith. But he's been a team guy. Because like I said, the Chiefs go out and they take the chance on Trey Smith. And I'll never forget, he put a Chiefs hat on. It was one of these COVID things where, guys were doing their media interviews from that, and that's what they were doing. But he had a Chiefs hat. And where he was drafted, keep this in mind, 6th-round picks don't have all the team's hats. They just don't. First-rounder and second-rounders typically do. They got every team's hat, and they just take the team that drafted him, throw that hat on. He did it. He had a Chiefs hat, meaning there was some serious interest in Trey Smith and the Kansas City Chiefs. But he kind of bought into who and what this team is. He's been a team guy. Now, he's not going to take a hometown discount. That's not what you expect. But they want to pay. There's certain guys, you see how they're molded, how they're constructed. You're saying, all right, they're going to take care of this guy long term because he took care of them. You took care of them. They have this loyalty to you. You've got this loyalty to them. I mean, I look at Trey Smith and kind of what he means for the protection for Mahomes and how important he is. And I think they realize that, and they should, because Mahomes deserves the best line he can get, in which he needs a lot better line than the way they performed last year in the postseason. He deserves the top receivers because you have one time in your life to have a quarterback like that, and you got to take care of him. But Trey Smith, I do believe, gets that deal done, Rob. He's just too much of a Kansas City dude, man. Like, he's too much in that club. You know what I mean, Rob? There's just some guys that you, wonder. Like, you're talking about Pacheco stuff. We think he gets that other contract or whatever. Like, Trey Smith's a dude that I can see getting it. 100%. I don't think there's any questions. They want that dude in the Kansas City Chiefs uniform for the long haul. Coming up next, though, as I mentioned, Patrick Mahomes was on the Up and Adams podcast, and it looked like he was at some kind of State Farm filming type thing. So be prepared for that, because I said that he wasn't in a ton of commercials. But get ready for this one. But he made a lot of good comments. I cut some of those comments he made. I watched the Joe Montana documentary this weekend, and all these things kind of tie in together between Mahomes and Montana. But he made some comments about Brady and what Brady thinks of him. And I think what Patrick Mahomes said, even though he typically is not going to say a whole bunch, I think he actually did in this. I'll tell you what that is next.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey there, Kansas Lottery here, and we want to get together for a game or two. Meet us at your favorite retailer or wherever you like to buy your tickets, and we can let the games begin. There's a lot of fun and cash on the line. See KSLottery.com for details.
If you're looking for that new career path, have you thought about IT? Think about IT. It's needed in every single industry, whether it's sports, healthcare, construction, manufacturing, you name it, and Centric can help you get there.
No better time in the city either. The KC Tech Council reported that there were 3,000 jobs added in IT in March alone. 3,000.
We've told you about our friend Russ Mondry and his expertise in this field. Over 16 years at Centric. He's going to help you find that career path. So go to Centric.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide, a robust new website, and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
This week only, go to Peter's Clothiers to get half-off suits by Jack Henry. Choose from many colors and sizes. Peter's Clothiers, 124th and State Line. This week only, Jack Henry suits are half off. Come in today, only at Peter's Clothiers.
FanDuel, because nothing says summer fun like adding excitement to the game while your friends are out there getting sunburned at the beach. Summer sports are calling your name. Baseball under the stadium lights, golf on pristine green fairways, soccer matches with world-class goals, and all the action-packed moments in between. You are going to spend all day following your favorite sports on your phone anyway. Might as well make it more thrilling with FanDuel. Open the app today to see the daily promotions, and new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get started. FanDuel is an official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
All right, Takis fans. Wendy's knows you love your Takis Fuego chips. So we thought, why not make a Takis Fuego meal with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich with spicy chicken topped with crushed Takis Fuego chips and creamy corn spread. Plus, it comes with Fuego fries inspired by Takis and a bag of Takis Fuego chips. If we had any more heat, we might start an actual... I told him this would happen. For an intense new take on Takis chips, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Includes 1 ounce Takis Fuego chips while supplies last. Takis and Fuego trademarks are used under license.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
Royals coverage sponsored by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Who is the area's only dealer for Fronius professional welding equipment? Metal by the Foot, located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Welcome back, 3 o'clock hour. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton, Josh Vernier coming your direction at 5:30. A little bit early tonight, comes on at 5:30. Of course, Noah Cameron, stand up St. Joe. Noah Cameron pitching tonight for the Kansas City Royals. So, Rob, I said that I think Harrison Butker has been the best move for Brett Veach, and you can throw in draft picks, I guess, if you want. I'm more thinking of going out and getting somebody like you got Butker off the practice squad for the Panthers. This guy, the best kicker in the National Football League. A guy that you wouldn't have 3 rings in the Mahomes era without Harrison Butker, the top paid player at his position. What's a better one? Is it, all right, Charvarius Ward, all right, was on with the Cowboys, right? And he flips Parker Anger in a trade and brings in Charvarius Ward. Undrafted guy, Charvarius Ward, did well here, won a ring, goes to the 49ers, gets a big contract. Now he's with the Indianapolis Colts at this point, but what other kind of moves do you think would you pin and say this has been a Brett Veach move, Rob? I'm curious because text line, I said, no, it's not Brett Veach. And so I saw a message back and said, well, tell me one that's better. Again, you can say draft picks you want, but I think everything's encompassing. What moves do you make that you bring in? Maybe they think it's getting Orlando Brown. And a lot of people didn't like Orlando, but pick 58 came with that and it brought in Nick Bolton. So maybe you can throw that in there, but that, I say, be a top 3 Veach move.
I mean, I would say it's the draft pick of Trent McDuffie, and I don't think it's really close. I think Trent McDuffie's Brett Veach, shining moment of greatness. So I would say draft counts because that's Brett Veach's job. You don't get to pick and choose. So I would say it's Trent McDuffie, and then I would probably say Rashee Rice in the draft is probably in that conversation. I would say Karlaftis in that conversation as far as best moves. I would also say Tyrann Mathieu is in the conversation for best move he made if you're talking about free agency, because Tyrann Mathieu kind of changed the culture of this defense. I would say that's probably the grouping I would create. Like if I was creating a top 3 or like a Mount Rushmore, that's kind of the grouping. I would say Orlando Brown's also in that kind. I would agree with you. Orlando Brown definitely has a conversation to make because he was probably the best starting left tackle the Chiefs have had in the last 5 years because at the end of Eric Fisher. So yeah, I think that's the grouping.
I think sometimes you have to look at moves and maybe you think, okay, it's about planning long-term to sign Mahomes.
I'd also say, for real quick, as part of the Trent McDuffie move is the fact that they traded Tyreek Hill to go get the picks. Like that,
yeah.
The trading Tyreek Hill might be one because you get Trent McDuffie as part of the haul, if that makes sense.
One it schooled the Bills, remember? Because they ended up they wanted McDuffie, but they jumped ahead of Bean and the Bills. Remember that? And they ended up with Kyer Elam, which is not even on the team anymore. They wanted McDuffie. So, yeah, you can put that in there. I did my top 5 Veach defensive backs a couple weeks ago when I was with Cody or when I was with Alex. They're like top 5 defensive backs ever. I put Badger way up there, too, because he was the culture change. Because I remember Dusty and I sitting in here one night, and the Chiefs hadn't really done anything. They go out and they get the Honey Badger to come in here. That really signified the change. The Orlando Brown thing, you can say what you want on it, because I know there was a lot of angst with Orlando Brown, but the Chiefs did not have a left tackle. They didn't. And they wanted Trent Williams. They wanted Trent Williams bad, but he decided to stay with the 49ers. But he was a free agent. They went all the way to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and they wanted Trent Williams, which would have been a coup. That would have been perfect for the Kansas City Chiefs to Trent Williams, no doubt about it. So they were stuck. So what Veach did is he traded one of his biggest rivals, because at that point it was the up-and-coming Baltimore Ravens. He traded them for their left tackle, and he brought him in, and he got picked 58, which Brett Veach said the second and third round are the hot zones. He called them the hot zones. So he gets picked 58, turns in Nick Bolton, who ended up leading the NFL in tackles right after that. So, yeah, you got a left tackle. You can love Orlando Brown or hate him, but they had to have him, and they won a ring with him. But they had to have a left tackle, and they got one from a rival. So that's definitely a top 3 Veach move in my mind. Orlando Brown and getting, especially because you have to consider Nick Bolton part of that deal, or to me that's a top 3 move. But Butker, you're talking about a guy that's made clutch kicks. You don't have those 3 rings with Mahomes if you don't have Harrison Butker. Top 8 player position. This dude was on the Panthers practice squad. But throughout the draft process and the combines and everybody talking about kickers, he was on the radar. And Veach noticed him. Dave Tobe noticed him. And when he became available, they're like, you know what? Let's go poach Harrison Butker. And they haven't looked back since. He's one of the best kickers in NFL history. But to me, that was his first big move. That was his first bold move. And that's definitely, whether you want to say it's one or not, I consider that his top move. But I definitely consider that a top 3 Brett Veach move since he's been here. You can talk about that because, it's a dynasty. He was a GM of a dynasty that deserves being talked about. And he's got my favorite quote ever in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs when he held up that Lombardi after Super Bowl 57 when they beat the Eagles. He held it up and said, this is what a rebuild looks like. Because that's when he had Najee Johnson, the 7th rounder, playing special teams in the postseason. Jalen Watson. His leading rusher was Isaiah Pacheco from the 7th round. But, yeah, holding that trophy up and says, this is what a rebuild looks like. To me, that's his best quote ever. But, yeah, the Butker move I'd consider to be his top move. So, Brady, as we know, the GOAT, even though I think things could be a lot closer if certain games go, like the fact of Mahomes getting the ball in overtime, D Ford's not offsides. The Brady game, of course, Chiefs didn't get in the postseason. The rules were different. It wasn't until the Bills didn't get their chance they changed the rules. But don't forget, Tom Brady beat Mahomes with the old rules. That's a ring for Tom Brady. They played head-to-head in the Super Bowl. Didn't go like it did in the regular season. That was a huge swing in rings between Mahomes and Brady. But they're real close, man. They're real close as far as being tied 5-5 in rings in my opinion, to be honest with you. But anyway, Tom Brady was in he was doing a podcast with Kevin Hart, the comedian Kevin Hart. They do it from a bathtub. I don't know if you've seen this, Rob, but they like a cold tub. And so Kay Adams is going to ask Mahomes about these comments, but this is what Tom Brady had to say. Now, keep in mind, this audio comes from a dude in a cold tub.
Who do you feel has the biggest opportunity in today's game to possibly duplicate a version of history? Like, do you feel...
Oh, Patrick.
Patrick. Do you like Patrick?
Sure. Well, I just think Patrick, I love his mentality. And he's a guy that I see so... The great players that I played with, Patrick has their mentality. Okay. He has a will to win. He's got a desire every time he takes the field to be a great leader. And even more than his physical skill, what I always do with the guys, I listen to what they say all the time. I listen to what they say after they win. I listen to what they say after they lose. I listen to how they communicate to their teammates and stuff. So it's just everything he says is the right thing. It's like I think, okay, how would I answer that? And then he answers it in a very similar way. And that's what I really appreciate, because I know he's really connected with his teammates. So he's got a great organization, and he's got a great coach, great general manager, great ownership, and they've got the parts around him. So I think he still has the best. I like that. Succeed.
So there you go. It's a high praise from the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, partial owner of the Raiders. By the way, the text line, 913-586-7965, saying, why isn't the Mahomes trade with the Bills to draft Patrick Mahomes the number one move by Brett Veach? Well, we know Veach was very active in that. He's the one that scouted Mahomes. He was a scout for the Chiefs. John Dorsey was the general manager when they made the decision to move up and draft Patrick Mahomes. So I can't pin that and say, all right, this is one of Brett Veach's top moves, because it took the general manager, which wasn't Brett at the time, it was John Dorsey. Now, was he instrumental in it? 100% so. But I got to label that with Dorsey. So anyway, that's what Brady said in the cold time. Hey, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick. Tom Brady can say whatever the hell he wants. He's earned that right. He can say whether he likes somebody, hates somebody, he believes them or not, because he's the greatest of all time, and that's just what guys do now. And he can say whatever the hell he wants. He labels Patrick Mahomes there. So anyway, the newest edition of Up and Adams with Adams with Kay Adams. Which, you like Kay Adams, Rob? I know she's a Missouri gal.
I don't watch her show, but she does have a plethora of NFL games.
She does.
It has value for what we do, but I don't seek it out, if that makes sense.
She does, and she's more of a rah-rah person, so someone could come on there and like crap on the Chiefs or whatever, and she'd probably giggle and laugh with them. That's just who she is. She gets any guess. She's not real critical on anybody. She pretty much praises everybody. Anyway, regardless, this is when Adams pressed Mahomes, just came out today on our podcast, about them receiving that praise from Tom Brady. How's he dealing with that?
Tom Brady had this incredible thing to say about how if he had to pick one person to sort of pass what he was able to do, it is you. He could have said nobody. No, I don't see anybody able to do that. You're in year 9, which is wild. Yeah. Wild since you were drafted. How much more do you think about your legacy now as 30 approaches, as year 9 is here?
I think that's always in the back of your mind, even from the beginning of my career. But at the end of the day, it's about taking it a day by a time, a day and a day, just continuing to do that. And that's something that I've been conscious of knowing that how blessed I am to be in Kansas City, to have all these great players around me, and having Tom, a guy like that, say that. I mean, it just motivates me even more. And I've actually talked to Tom a good amount this offseason, and it's cool that he wants to give me advice. You know, he doesn't have to be like that. He's such a good dude, and I have so much respect for him, and I'll take any advice he gives me.
What does he say to you? What's the best advice?
I gotta keep the secrets, you know. But he always talks about being yourself. He thinks that, which I truly believe too, is that guys can spot when you're not authentic and you're not putting in the work. And that's something that he did every single day. That's why guys respect him so much. And that's all I'm going to do for the rest of my career. And I feel like I've done so far is I'm always myself. No matter if you like me or if you don't like me, you know that I'm giving everything I can to win the football games.
See, that was a good question there by Kay. All right, so what is it? What is it that Brady's told you? It's great, you know, when players talk to each other is one thing, but she kept pressing him there. What did he tell you? And he wouldn't say. He said, hey, it's a secret. Which it should be that way, just between Tom and Patrick. And here's the thing. Brady doesn't have to give praise or advice, as I've said. He's the greatest of all time. He can do whatever the hell he wants. But the other thing is Mahomes doesn't have to take it either. He didn't have to take anything anybody says. He's 3-time Super Bowl MVP. He doesn't have to listen. But the fact he does listen means everything. You hear about these legends that come back and try to help certain players around the league, whether it's baseball, football, whatever it is, and it goes in one ear and out the other, and they don't take that advice. They don't heed that advice, and they think they're where they're at because of their own ability, which typically they are, but you need something to perpetuate that ability. And for Patrick to listen to somebody else when, think about it, he doesn't have to listen to anybody. I mean, he's built his own empire. He's built his own name in this game. This guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer before he even turns 30 years old. That's insanity, because you look at these other guys like Drew Brees and Rodgers and all these other great quarterbacks and Brady, that all of them Steve Young, all of them had their best seasons, 30s and beyond. I mean, they built Hall of Fame careers from what they did from 30 years old on. That's the amazing thing for Patrick Mahomes, is he built all this stuff before he even turned 30. He hasn't hit his quarterback prime. Yeah, for other players, they typically the wheels fall off when they hit 30. Not quarterbacks, man. Not quarterbacks. That's when they process everything, learn everything. But the fact that he takes that advice, I think that means something. But I think the best thing that he said there was he said he took the advice about, and he did share this. He said, the advice from Brady, be authentic. Be who you are. And that's what I think separates Mahomes, is you have to be authentic. And as a quarterback, I know it sounds silly or whatever, and these combine questions that they used to ask that kind of get thrown out when they'd ask how much you like football, which they still get around to that. You can't ask the direct questions like you used to be able to with the new rules. But there's a reason why they ask that, because all the guys that are retiring at 29, 30 years old and whatever it is, like how much you love the sport. And I think the head coach of Cal, when he came on during the draft weekend with Chris and I for character concerns, he was Noel Williams, coach in college. He says there's two type of guys. Those that like being a football player because they like what comes with it, like the riches, the recognition you get. And the second type of guy, which likes to play the game of football, enjoys the sport, enjoys showing up early, leaving late, learning about the game from the best, taking that knowledge and imparting it. Two types of guys. There's always two types with anything you do. Two types of people. Well, Mahomes is a guy that is authentic. And going down to Camp Pat, going down to Texas, having the guys hang out with them. I mean, not even stars. Mahomes doesn't have first rounders and stuff like that. No, it's second rounders, fourth rounders, undrafted guys. Those are his dudes, man. And that's the most important thing, because a lot of times guys forget where they came from and they forget the struggles. He hasn't. He'll play video games, whatever. He didn't care if you're drafted in the 7th round, not drafted at all. He's authentic. And guys do pick up on that. As Patrick said, even Brady said, hey, guys will notice that. Guys will spot authenticity between their quarterbacks. They know who's the real one and who's not. Who to play for, who to run through that wall for. They spot it right away. They know if you're a fake really quickly in that locker room. And he's not that type. I watched the Joe Montana documentary this past weekend, and I hadn't seen it before. It was filmed a couple years ago. It was on Peacock or whatever. I was like, you know what? I'll watch this. Because I always liked Joe Montana when he became a chief and all that. And you heard all the great stories about how much people liked him. He talked to some of his former teammates, and which I've done through the years. Hey, what'd you learn from Joe? And almost to a man, they come back to being authentic. Neil Smith talked about, Neil Smith had that baseball bat he'd swing, or he would simulate it on the field, but he carried a baseball bat around with him. Montana stole it just to have fun with him and put a ransom note on the 50-yard line. Like, he messed with him. And in training camp in River Falls, it was Joe Montana would grab the lineman, head down the Bozeman mine, and you name it, in River Falls to drink beer with his lineman. He was just a dude, man. That's why Joe was successful, because guys bought into who he was, that he wasn't too good for them. And some of these quarterbacks think they're too good for their teammates. They think they're too good for their team. And guys spot that right away. And that's one thing Mahomes has going for him, and I love that fact that he was talking about that with Brady. Be authentic, because guys can spot that almost immediately. So regardless, that Montana series is actually pretty good. But you got to wait till like episode 5 for the Chief stuff. You got to wait all that, because a lot of Notre Dame stuff with Joe and everything else. But cut from the same cloth, where guys respect you, and you got to be authentic. So anyway, that's Mahomes there. More of what Mahomes said, because I think some of it, again, you hear a lot of coach speak and stuff like that, but there were some things he said that I think they were pretty noteworthy. You can tell where this guy's focus is. And as I said, I think the revenge tour, vengeance tour, scorched earth philosophy is coming for the Kansas City Chiefs. But coming up next, one All-Star that didn't make it on the All-Star team that you think, why isn't this guy on the team? Talk about that next.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
For the first time in a long time, I'm willing to dream that this can be a special season for the Missouri Tigers.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
Learn more about becoming a sharper, safer hunter or outdoors person with the Missouri Department of Conservation Lake City Shooting Range and Outdoor Education Center. Regardless of your experience, we can help you master firearms and archery, as well as map and compass, wildlife identification, and many other skills. Open every Wednesday through Sunday in Blue Springs. Learn more at mdc.mo.gov/Lake City. Brought to you by the Missouri Department of Conservation.
Flooded bathroom? AC on the fritz? When things go wrong, you need reliable service fast. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter and take $50 off any HVAC, plumbing, or electrical repair over $200. The pros at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to fix the problem. Over 40 years experience, more than 8,000 five-star reviews, plus our exceptional service guarantee means you can trust Hamilton to bring comfort and calm back to your home. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
You want to see the ring? Here, I have a picture.
Wow, look at you.
I know, right? Went to Hellsberg and customized the whole thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, I showed them all our inspiration photos, picked the setting, the diamond. It's actually pretty fun. Now for the real hard part, asking her.
Well, congrats, buddy. The ring looks awesome.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Designed with care and craft since 1915. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The Black Friday and July event from Dell Technologies is here with great offers on trusted technology. You'll also discover huge deals on new AI-ready laptops like the Dell 14 Plus featuring Intel Core Ultra processors starting at $699.99. Save on top accessories, plus enjoy fast, free shipping and other benefits. Upgrade today by visiting Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the entire job, all from one partner. To get access to over 3 million products, including many products you won't find in our stores. It's time to get delivery on your schedule or next day on over 50,000 products. And time to get dedicated support on the job site or in our stores. From ordering to planning, we've got you. One partner, any job, all in. Ask about all we can now do at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go, the best deals on airport parking.
Ready for a summer getaway? Start it off right with Park & Go, KC's premier airport parking destination. Open 24/7 with all covered spots to beat the summer heat. Reserve your spot now at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, the best deal on airport parking.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Good afternoon downtown. A two-car crash, 35 southbound at 670. It is the right lane blocked. In Kansas, 635 southbound to Shawnee Drive. The right lane of the ramp blocked there. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric Traffic Center, I'm Val, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Hey Kansas City, it's Bobby Witt Jr. Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton, Carrington back with you tomorrow on assignment today. Royals All-Star bids. Is it bad, Rob, that you're sitting here thinking about All-Star snubs, or are we kind of past that now?
I think you should be thinking. I mean, I think it's front of mind because the All-Star voting came out yesterday.
I get it, sir. But I mean, does it make or break what you think about this team? Because it used to be that way. Back when this team wasn't, going to the playoffs and things like this, is the only thing you had to hang your hat on. Remember when Hosmer hit that home run in the All-Star game? You're like, oh, it's something to hang your hat on, right? Something to hang your hat on for the Royals. I don't look at it like that when it comes to Royals. Bobby Witt Jr., yes. I mean, if he's not in the All-Star game, that's travesty. That is. And with Chris Bubich making the team, I think if a pitcher doesn't make the team, the All-Star team for the Royals, that doesn't define who and what this team is. When you look back at historically, you think about how good this team is because of this pitching staff. I think if a Royals pitcher doesn't make the All-Star game, it's blatant disrespect. It's disrespect because that's one of the best pitching units in Major League Baseball. It's what's kept this team alive. Again, they're fourth in team ERA. The starters are third in the American League. Just the relievers, fourth in the American League. They deserve somebody there. But the Maikel Garcia comments get thrown out there a lot. Now, he's played some at shortstop. Obviously, he's played third base more than anything. He's played in the outfield as well. Maikel Garcia has been a breath of fresh air. I like how he approaches the game. I like the way that he plays. But right now, he's hitting .303. He's got 8 home runs, 39 RBI. Listen, the guy's been incredible. But Alex Bregman has been hurt. And Alex Cora, the manager of the Red Sox, thinks he'll, be back maybe sometime this week. So what I mean is, here's the thing too, Rob. Like if he comes back this week for the Red Sox, do I think he'd actually play in the All-Star game? I don't. I think they'll be replacing that because I don't think he would do that. In a game that doesn't matter to anything, Rob, like there's nothing on the line at all for the Red Sox. I don't see, even if he plays this week, and I know he's an all-star at this point, I'm not sure he plays in it, Rob. It looks great on his Wikipedia page that he's an all-star this year. That's fine, but I don't think he plays. I think Maikel gets in there.
I do think he'll eventually end up in there because of Bregman's injury.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that Bregman is in over Garcia should really frustrate Royals fans. And I have a sense of frustration with it back here because I understand the Royals are not living up to expectations. I understand the offense has been bad in 2025. But that is not the fault of Maikel Garcia. And if you want to tell me it's because of injury, fine. Maikel Garcia leads all third basemen in Major League Baseball on average, which is the exact reason why Bobby Witt isn't the shortstop for the ALs because Jack Wilson has a better average. So Maikel Garcia,
100% is average.
Maikel Garcia didn't get that kiss. And I looked it up. Maikel Garcia is second among third basemen in OPS, which I'm a big OPS guy, on base plus slug, 2 pretty important stats. The only person better is Jose Ramirez, who is trending toward a Hall of Fame-like career. So
he's the best of the best, no question.
Maikel Garcia is not a starter. Cool. Jose Ramirez is in the AL. I get it. But Alex Bregman in over Michael Garcia is just a travesty. Because this is not Alex Bregman from 2017, 2018, where he's pounding the cover off the ball because he hears the trash can being banged. This is a hurt version of him in Boston. And Garcia should have made the All-Star game over Bregman. Now, you're right. The wrong might be righted just by Bregman's injury, and I assume Garcia will get in if he elects not to play, but still.
I think that was a nod to who and what he is. I think that's 100% a nod. He's in the club.
And what my frustration is we're going to give the nod because he's in the club to Alex Bregman. We didn't seem to do that with Bobby Witt Jr., who a year ago was second in the MVP and a no-doubt all-star. So it seems like the lines are blurred on what is and isn't an all-star among the AL people. So that is my frustration. And I'm surprised more Royals fans aren't frustrated by Michael Garcia watching the all-star game from at home this year as opposed to in Atlanta.
Why do you think that is? I'm just curious. Is it because fans at this point, they look at the standings, see 14 games back from the Tigers, they haven't lived up to expectations, they don't score runs? Why do you think that is? Like, I think there would have been some outrage if Bobby's not on that team. I don't know if it would have been full-scale outrage, from Royals fans. Should they have been mad? Yeah. But Michael Garcia, I get it, man. The guy's been a stud. And just like Rob said with OPS and everything else in that average, if we make the argument that the average matters, well, why doesn't his average matter more than a guy like Bobby or something like that? The way with Garcia is, I look at the Royals' record, and I'm okay with them having 2 All-Stars, I guess, because, how many Royals really deserve to be in there at this point because of the season? Do they deserve a hitter in there? 100%. Give Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. deserves to be an All-Star. The guy leads Major League Baseball in doubles. He's, 4th in stolen bases. The power strokes coming back for Bobby. Bobby's starting for Team USA in baseball. I get it. Chris Bubic, to me, I'm okay with him going to the All-Star game. He should be in the All-Star game. He's been an All-Star this year for this team. And the Royals deserve, I guess, if the Royals were just going to get 2, would he deserve to go in over Chris Bubic, do you think? If the commissioner list says, let's put Garcia in there and not Bubic. I think that would have been more of an outrage, to be honest with you, Rob, not having a pitcher from the staff.
I don't think the two are mutually exclusive, though. I agree with you. I'd have been more frustrated by no pitcher over Michael, but they should have gotten both. They should have gotten Chris Bubic. He was extremely deserving. They should have gotten Bobby Witt, and they should have gotten Michael Garcia. There are some people who believe that Carlos Estevez was a snub. I don't really believe that because I think outside of saves, statistically, he has not been one of the top-end relievers in the AL. He's been good, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't been the best of the best in the AL. So I don't call him a snub. I don't even think he's even the best player in the Royals bullpen. But Michael Garcia watching from Atlanta, not watching at home and not being in Atlanta is 1,000% a snub.
I think he does end up getting there. It's besides the point. We're talking about snubs or not snubs. I look at the Royals where they sit and think, okay, what kind of argument can you really make? Now, if they're in first place, sure, you make that argument. But I'm looking at a team that's sitting 14 games back from the Tigers. At this point, I think, okay, I'm happy that one hitter's there. I'm definitely happy you got a pitcher there because they deserved it. Did they deserve other players? Probably so. 100% they did. But as far as did they get it right?
Do you think the fact the Royals offense is so bad that's why fans aren't more upset with Michael Garcia?
I think so. Because if the Royals went first, they would be screaming from the rafters.
I don't even think they need to be in first. I just think if the offense was respectable. But I think the fact the offense is so bad, it's hard for fans to wrap their brain around, hey, the offense is bad. We need a second offensive player in the All-Star game. But in reality, the offensive issues are not the fault of Michael Garcia, and he should be an All-Star. But I think the umbrella of bad offense has created fans to be a little bit apathetic toward Garcia not making it, which I get because the offense has been just terrible this season. There's no way around it, but he is the actual bright spot, and I wonder why. I'm not talking about baseball. I'm talking about why Royals fans aren't more mad. Because I didn't see any clamoring on social media, whereas it was kind of just ho-hum, they got there too. It seemed surprising to me.
As far as Bobby, too, we got to remember this, too. That was the commissioner doing that. That wasn't the players and managers vote, that 2/3 of the vote, that wasn't obviously people voting on that. The commissioner had stood to put Bobby in there, which I think that's really a travesty, to be honest with you, as far as the game, where the game stands with people. I think that speaks volumes, the fact that the commissioner had to do it and not Bobby Wood Jr. But as we mentioned earlier, Rob, the preseason Big 12 polls out for the first team all Big 12. Any surprises? Sam Leavitt is the quarterback. No surprises for me on that. He deserves it. Arizona State's quarterback should be Sam Leavitt. That should be your first team all Big 12 quarterback.
I mean, I don't disagree. I like Sam Leavitt a lot. But if Sam Leavitt's the best quarterback in the conference might be in a little bit of trouble this upcoming season.
It's like much different than last year.
I mean, Sam Leavitt's really good, and I think the conference has a lot of strong quarterback play, but I don't think they have the one elite guy. Like, you look at the SEC, they got 2, maybe 3, 4 elite level quarterbacks. I trust the depth in the Big 12 better, but that's not how we judge these things. I have no problem with him being preseason offensive player of the year. It feels odd that Sam Leavitt is that choice. I mean, I watched a lot of Arizona State last year. I never thought to myself, man, Sam Leavitt's really making plays and spinning it. Sam Leavitt's really making plays and spinning it. I really felt like it was Cam Scatteraboo. So I mean, whatever, but I don't know. That's more of an indictment on the league than anything to me.
Well, a few other players made it as well from this list. Bryce Foster of your Kansas Jayhawks makes it on the offensive line. Will Swanson gets thrown in there as a fullback / H-back. He's a tight end at Kansas State. He's thrown in there as far as all Big 12 teams. If I forget anybody else on this list from Kansas?
Austin Romine, yeah.
Austin Romine. But again, this stuff doesn't matter because, again, I said, a couple years, well, it's been more than a couple years ago. It's probably right around when the Royals won in 15. Bill Snyder had his whole returning offensive line come back, and someone asked him a question like, that's got to be a thrill, right? And Bill's like, nah. I like competition. I like what competition brings. But regardless, Big 12 Media Days about to start. Looking forward to this. The newcomer of the year is Dampier on that. And as far as the Big 12 preseason, this is what you have so far at this point. So you say, you can deal with this. At least it's a lineman for Kansas because that's where it's all built upon the offensive line. Speaking of college football, did you see Urban Meyer start to make some headlines, Rob?
I feel like Urban Meyer likes to make headlines.
Urban Meyer loves headlines.
I feel like that's how he thrives. It's just, let's just be in the headline for saying things.
And here's the one thing about Herb, in what he hadn't been head coach since 2021. I think the Jags, obviously his last run when he got an NFL, and he quickly realized the difference between college football and the NFL when he got to the Jags. It is a guy that's won 3 national titles. I mean, Urban Meyer knows what he's doing. But he does a podcast as well. Have you ever listened to Urban Meyer's podcast?
I see it pop up every once in a while on my Instagram, but I don't seek out Urban Meyer podcasts.
No, I don't either. But he does have one. And he had Jim Nagy on. You know Jim Nagy, right, from the Senior Bowl. He's the guy, he was the director of the Senior Bowl. And did a great job just really building this thing up. Matter of fact, Jim Nagy, when you think about prospects and everything, wasn't that kind of the voice that you consider like one of the top voices in football as far as guys going to the next level? Because that scouting mindset that he has. Well, Jim's leaving the Senior Bowl, and he's now the GM of the Oklahoma Sooners. Like, he made that true. Were you shocked at all that he would take a job like that as a GM in football?
Yes, I was shocked, but that's because if you would have asked me if he were to leave, I would thought he'd been an NFL GM. I also didn't think college GMs were going to be a thing 5, 6, 7 years ago. So it's surprising, but I'm also surprised by the state of college athletics. So there's a lot of evolving and, opening my brain to things like that I have to adjust to.
But here's the one thing. You've seen NBA players. The current NBA players, they're going back as, quote, the GM of their college
They're
teams.
all assistant GM. Yeah. Like Trae Young in Oklahoma. Yeah. I think there's another one I'm forgetting. But you're assistant GM and you do no work.
But you need the GMs. We see Max Crosby does a lot at Eastern Michigan, right? He's like one of those guys that kind of in that. But anyway, supposedly Herb was offered a job as a GM for a college team. Now, he won't say what it is, Rob. He said he met with somebody and he took phone calls as well, but we don't know which teams it was. And he was talking to Jim. He says, okay, what's the job description? Well, basically, you meet with all the agents of 17 and 18-year-olds. And I thought, and this is what Herb thought, I'd rather step on a rusty nail and pull it out myself. I mean, what in the world? If that's what you got to do, Jim, talking about Jim Nagy, God bless you, go do it. Like, I actually understand that part too. That's got to be the frustration, doesn't it? When you're actually sitting down with agents of 17 and 18-year-olds, right? When you're sitting down with their agents, what are you going to promise our guy? The college football world is much different. That kind of, what Urban's saying there, you got to know that's what it is. It's like Nick Saban got out of it. He was still part of Nil there at the end, but it wasn't wild about that. Remember? And Dabo Swinney at Clemson, as great as coach he was, he didn't do any transfer portals last year. Matter of fact, he's, in the playoffs. Outside of the service academies like Air Force and Army and Navy that don't do the transfer portals, Clemson didn't have any. This year they've got them because they said, all right, this is the way the game's going to be played. That's what they do. Dabo Swinney never liked nil, but he understands this is what it is. And if you don't like it, you better find another job because this is where we're going. But negotiating with 18-year-olds now, Rob, is just part of the deal, man. College football is just different, man. It is different than when you started here. When I would talk college football, it is 100% different the way it is now as far as negotiating skill set. Hell, you saw UNLV lost their quarterback last year, remember, after beating Kansas? Because he was going to hit that threshold where he didn't get, quote, the money that he was supposed to get at UNLV, and he just up and left. And everybody thought, whoa, that was a shock to the system. But then more and more guys started doing that. They didn't want to burn a year. Of course, they won that 4 years or 4 games to still preserve their red shirt, and they bolted, man. Like, they bolted. Do you have any problems with Urban saying this? Because, I totally understand what he's saying. Like, I get it for old school coaches like that. I get it, but it's just different, man. Like, the day and age of finding a good GM in college football, that's where it's at.
I get why Urban is saying it, but I think Urban is off base, not in his assessment of doing it, but I think as college football continues to evolve, we have the revenue sharing, and you saw Texas Tech. They announced a contract for a recruit down at Texas Tech. He got a 3-year, was it 2.1 per million?
$55 million.
It was crazy. But as we enter this era, I think you're going to need to see more college programs adding a GM to the fold. Because do you know why it works in the NFL? It's because the person that negotiates your contract and the person that tells you to run a drill or you're on the bench are not the same person. And right now, college sports is experiencing that shift. It is difficult. I remember the quote was taken out of context. But I remember Eli Drinkwitz last year at SEC Media Days said something to the effect of, it's tough sometimes in the locker room. You have guys making more money than me. I get his point. If you're in the recruiting trail, you're negotiating a contract, and then on Saturday you realize, oh, this guy ain't it, it's going to feel like dirty pool. So you need that intermediary. Ask Andy Reid. At the end of his time in Philadelphia, I don't think Andy Reid enjoyed being the general manager. I think he enjoyed being the head football coach, which is why he's the head coach here and not the general manager. Bill Belichick, he hired a GM, by the way.
Michael Lombardi, NFL guy.
Yeah, he hired a GM in North Carolina. I don't think he enjoyed general managing the New England Patriots. I know Bill O'Brien, who's now in college, has a GM at Boston College. I don't think he enjoyed being GM in Houston. So I get where Urban's coming from if you're viewing it like it's 2007, but college programs need a general manager because then your, for local, Kleiman, Drinkwitz, Leipold can coach on Saturday, and if a player's upset with his contract, they go to a different office on Monday. It can't be, Coach, you promised me 60% of the snaps, and then you have to go in his office like, well, you actually aren't as good as we thought. Like, it's just you need an intermediary there, and I think college sports is accepting that evolution. And shockingly enough, Urban Meyer is late to the game and wrong in his comments.
But this is the way it's going, and they're the good guy, or a lot of times they're the bad guy as far as GMs are concerned to college football. But you better have one, because if you don't, you're not going to win. I mean, it's just a different game. As I said a couple years ago, the difference between a college football coach and an NFL coach, that line has never been more similar. And these NFL guys that go into college football and they run the department, it's different now. Because it used to be, all right, what recruits we're going to bring in? It was the recruiting was one side, and then you may hit the JUCO. What are guys doing down at Hutch JUCO or whatever? Do we want to bring them in and get good? Nowadays, it's high school seniors or juniors you're watching at a point. They're on your radar. Then the transfer portal builds your team up like that. That's why we see the Heisman Trophy ceremony loaded with guys that have hit the transfer portal in the past. So you have the transfer portals, and then you've got it's basically just like the NFL as far as free agency, the draft, the different departments you need. Well, For colleges, it's the seniors in high school, the 3 stars, 4 stars, whatever on arrivals. It's those guys, and then it's what transfer portal guys we can bring in here to be good. But I thought that was interesting what Urban Meyer said. But you know what? Welcome to the real world. He didn't want to do it. It's not going to dabble in it. It's a big reason why guys that were old school that won their way won't go back into coaching because it is a completely different ball game. Coming up next, though, countdown to kickoff as the Chiefs, the countdown's beginning to Sao Paulo.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison, your home for the best food takes in KC.
Regular old American nachos. You know, I don't need jalapenos with mine, just chips, cheese.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
The other place with 5 great Kansas City locations: Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. Stop by this summer and enjoy their beautiful patios, all while listening to some live music. At most locations, Thursday through Saturdays, and on game day, they have enough big screens that you'll never miss a minute of the action, all while enjoying some great food and beer specials. So make the other place your summer headquarters. The other place, Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. Check out theotherplace.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-2013 or biglou.com.
Say hello to Wendy's new 2-for-4 Biggie Bundle. Choose from the JBC made with fresh, never frozen beef, crispy chicken sandwich, 6-piece nugs, or small soft drink. Any 2 for just $4. It's like the reunion special you've been waiting for, but the only drama is watching you try to pick just 2. For a deal as fresh as the meal, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Request 2 for $4 Biggie Bundles to obtain discount. Individual items at regular price. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. Alaska.
New Harley-Davidson starting at $99 a month at Rawhide Harley. Over 600 Harleys in stock. Only $99 a month for a brand new Harley-Davidson at Rawhide Harley. Visit rawhideharley.com.
Payments based on Nightster models and base color with 30% down, 84-month term, 6.99% APR with approved credit. Doesn't include freight, setup, tax, title, and license fees. See dealer for details.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com. This week only, go to Peter's Clothiers to get half-off suits by Jack Henry. Choose from many colors and sizes. Peter's Clothiers, 124th and State Line. This week only, Jack Henry suits are half off. Come in today, only at Peter's Clothiers.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Almost Andy Reid here. Renner Garage Door has proudly served KC for nearly 70 years. Get your free estimate today, RENNER, forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
New problem downtown. Stalled vehicle 71 northbound as you approach 70 in the right lane near Olathe. Stall 35 northbound at 119th. Right lane blocked. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric Traffic Center, I'm Val, 96.5, the Fan Traffic.
The NFL season is fast approaching. With kickoff under 100 days away.
Harrison Butker set to kick it off. The run-up. Butker's kick and Super Bowl 58 is underway in a high, deep spinning kick.
The Drive gives you an NFL thought every day from now until the start of the season. It's the countdown to kickoff.
Getting close, Rob. Getting very, very close. I mentioned we have NFL football this month. And that's a storyline in and of itself. I think with the NFL coming back, we're sitting here, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. The Chiefs' first practice in St. Joe. 2 weeks.
Who even is the Hall of Fame game this year? I don't even know.
The Colts are in it. And what, the Steelers are in it?
I legitimately do not know.
I think so.
I thought it was Chargers and Lions, if you asked me randomly.
Let's see. I thought it was the Colts. I could be wrong.
The Hall of Fame game is the ultimate tease to me.
Oh, I remember when they canceled it a few years ago?
Mm-hmm. And because the field's in bad shape?
Yeah, they brought in some turf, I think, from New Orleans, and that was it was canceled. But it'd be the Lions and the Chargers.
There you go.
It's the Lions and Chargers.
All right, Bing, today's
But none of them play it, though, because
No.
they don't want to play that. It's because, quote, that is an extra preseason game, and they just want 3.
Yeah. All right, Bing, today's countdown to kickoff question is very, very simple. As we saw, some possible turmoil between TJ Watt and the Steelers, there are reports that teams are mulling trade offers for the elite pass rusher. Now, I am asking you, do you think TJ Watt is actually available on the market, or do you think this is just all one big ploy to get more and more money from the Steelers? And if he is on the market, where do you think he will land?
Well, I think it is a ploy, and I think the Steelers are all in, and they know it's a short window. Obviously, with Rodgers, they understand it's an extremely short window, and I think they'll do everything in their power to keep a guy that basically is that team. He's the one that, with the forced fumbles, the sacks, you name it, he means everything to the Steel City. I don't see him hitting the open market. I see him sitting there. I remember what Bob and Dusty, I think, asked me last week, would I rather have Trent McDuffie long-term or TJ Watt? Who would I take? And I know Watt's, at 30 years old now, is getting to that point, but he's a game changer, man. That's a game record. I took TJ Watt just because of the position. I think that not that the shutdown corners aren't specialized, but I consider them one of the top 4 positions, but I consider edge rusher right above there. But I think he's a Pittsburgh Steeler, and I think that that situation will be calmed down. We see this all the time, Rob, but don't you see the Steelers making this thing work? I mean, that's their dude. That's the guy. That's the fan favorite. That's their guy. He will be, again, it's a short window for Pittsburgh until they draft that quarterback next year.
You said it perfectly at the end there. Now, listen, they might not get a long-term deal done. I don't know. I'm not in Pittsburgh, but it would stun me if they move TJ Watt before the season.
Well, I would be completely stunned.
What about their moves indicate that they're thinking about the future? Aaron Rodgers, Jonnu Smith, Jalen Ramsey. This isn't exactly DK Metcalf. This isn't exactly a young man's team. Like this is a team geared up for the now. You're gonna spend all offseason telling me you're all in on the now, only to turn around and trade your best pass rusher for the picks, because he would probably get bigger than this, but a Khalil Mack type of haul after the draft. It just, the whole thing is nonsensical to me. I think they eventually get something worked out, but even if they don't, TJ Watt's on the Steelers in week 1. They're not trading him.
He will be. You understand, as though Pittsburgh, they have 12 draft picks next year, including 3 third-round picks. The draft next year is in Pittsburgh. And if people are wondering what Pittsburgh's going to do, they're going to draft a quarterback. They didn't this year. They did. They got Will Howard, the former K-State guy, of course, from Ohio State. But that's not it. They know it's not it. That's not the answer. But when you think of 12 picks and the 3 third-rounders, yeah, Pittsburgh has the draft next year in the Steel City. They will take their quarterback in the first round when that draft is in Pittsburgh. So, yes, I'm looking at everything the Steelers do now for that one shot. You don't go out and sign a guy like Aaron Rodgers when you know that's a one-year deal. It is a one-year deal. Technically, it's what it is. But that's what it is. It's the one-year window of having Aaron Rodgers. They're going to do everything they can to win now. The future starts for Pittsburgh in the draft in Pittsburgh next year.
And, I mean, it's connecting college football to, the draft. Boy, is next year's quarterback draft crop deep.
It's much different than this year.
There's Nussmeier, there's Manning, we mentioned Sam Levitt earlier in the show. I really like Lenore Sellers. I'm a big Lenore Sellers fan. It's a little bit under the radar.
I like Lenore's too.
I'm a huge Lenore Sellers guy. I'll be buying a lot of Lenore Sellers stock. Drew Aller, this is just.
Aller's a stud.
What's the kid at Clemson? Is it Kublek? Is that his name?
Kate Klubnik. But Aller's so good. That's why Purbule's in Missouri,
yeah.
Right? That's why he jumped to the transfer portal, because Aller's coming back.
I right there off the top of my head, boom, named 6 quarterbacks who could be first-round picks. That doesn't include guys who I think are good college quarterbacks that could be picked as well.
Carson Beck will be a second-rounder. Nico will probably be a second-rounder.
Miller Moss, I know he transferred out of USC this year. He's a guy that was very coveted in the portal. He's
John Mateer at Oklahoma.
John Mateer, it's a great quarterback class next year. So yeah, the Steelers are all in on this year, and they're all in on the rebuild in 2026.
Are you 100% saying Arch Manning over Nussmeier?
No, I think Nussmeier.
Because I know that I think Nussmeier will make a challenge, but I think Arch will probably he's the leader in the clubhouse.
I really think it depends on who gets the number 1 overall pick.
But he didn't beat up Quinn Ewers. I mean, that says a lot.
Let's say the Saints get the number 1 overall pick and they keep their current regime. Do you know who the offensive coordinator is of the Saints? It's Nussmeier's dad. Yeah. So it's really hard for them to maybe pass up on Nussmeier and the nepotism there. So I think it's one of those 2 guys, number 1 overall. But like I said, we just named 7 quarterbacks who could be first-round talents in 2026.
Hey man, I like Arch and what he does, and I love when he was filling in there for Ewers. I mean, the guy has legs to run, unlike other Mannings. But here's the thing, though. If you can't beat out Quinn Ewers, which, by the way, if Quinn Ewers went in the first round this year, you're like, it's first-round quarterback. Quinn Ewers goes in the 7th round to the Dolphins. 7th round pick, 231. Like it's not exactly like he was beating out a first-round pick. Quinn Ewers had the acumen to be a first-round quarterback, but he wasn't, because we saw how bad he threw. You go back and watch Xavier Worthy when he was at Texas. He had to sit there and wait on the ball that Quinn Ewers delivered. So, yeah, but this year's quarterback class is going to be ridiculous. This is where Pittsburgh makes their move and gets their quarterback of the future. That's exactly what Pittsburgh is doing with Aaron Rodgers. Coming up next, though, we'll take a look. Vern said something very interesting today, as he always does, talking about, is it time to keep or is it time to sell? Where are we at with the Kansas City Royals? Vern had a great opinion earlier today.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the 965 YouTube channel. The Drive, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5, The Fan. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
New problem downtown. Stalled vehicle 71 northbound as you approach 70 in the right lane near Olathe. Stall 35 northbound at 119th. Right lane blocked. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric Traffic Center, I'm Val, 96.5, the Fan Traffic.
Ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? Call Jay Southland Tow Service, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments. They can do it all. Be in the know and call Jay's Southland Tow.
You need parts? O'Reilly has parts. Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Upgrade to Brake Best Select pads for just $10. Or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or Import Direct pads for just $20. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
This report is brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka in Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka in Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is only 100 calories. And the best part, 0 bubbles. Grab it at the Cave or ask for it at your favorite bars and liquor stores.
You want to see the ring? Here, I have a picture.
Wow, look at you.
I know, right? Went to Hellsberg and customized the whole thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, I showed them all our inspiration photos, picked the setting, the diamond. It's actually pretty fun. Now for the real hard part, asking her.
Well, congrats, buddy. Ring looks awesome.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Designed with care and craft since 1915. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
Car wreck? Get the money you deserve.
Mike's got this.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. Choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
College days are back on the drive. Listen for K-State Day on Thursday, July 17th, starting at 2 o'clock on your home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back to The Drive. Jay Binkley, Rob Brenton producing the operation. Carrington back tomorrow. Kansas City Royals, Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. Vern gets you going at 5:30 for Vern's On Deck show. Noah Cameron out of St. Joe, the starter for the Royals tonight. Rob, you going out to any of the Pirates games, or are you backing off because no Skeens?
I'm backing off because no Skeens. I will get full
But if
disclosure.
Skeens was here, you'd be here.
Skeens was here, I'd be at the ballpark. Full disclosure, when the Pirates kind of manipulated their, rotation for who's starting what day and when, me and Carrington were texting. We were like, are we going to miss Skeens? And we looked it up. We are going to miss Skeens, and our interest in going to games this week dropped significantly. I would have paid to go out there and see Skeens. He is must-see TV, but Andrew Heaney is not must-see TV, so I will not be out there tonight.
Why are they doing this? Our team's manipulating their starting pitchers because the Royals' offense?
I think it's
They can throw anybody at them.
I think it's mostly because it's just that time of year where you're kind of leaning up against the break, and there's some off days coming up. Like, let's not burn out our guy. You can get an extra off day plus the upcoming off week. He's a candidate for maybe starting the All-Star game. Skeens is because he's been so good. So
I would have started him now in this series because
do the math.
The All-Star game is not till Tuesday.
If you start him Monday, though, he starts again Friday. Now he can't start Tuesday. So maybe if you start him Sunday, then he can start get the off day. Like, you can kind of manipulate it so he's the star of the All-Star game. That would be my guess, more so than the Royals offense.
Well, it's he's definitely must-see TV. I remember last year just was texting Kling and Bob and stuff like that. Hey, you watching Skeens Day pitching, but you're not going to be able to see him, and that kind of sucks. Well, Josh Vernier, of course, is on all the different shows throughout the week, and of course pregame and postgame, as Vern always does, has you set for Royals baseball. It's good. Yeah, he is the number one Royals source, in my opinion. But anyway, Vern today on should this team sell or not regarding the future of the organization. What would Vern think? What's Vern going to do? Because I was thinking about this a lot this weekend. Well, the Royals still in it. You don't want to wave the white flag. You don't want to say, hey, we're done. We don't want to be a quitter. What does Vern think about long-term with this organization? Better to sell or not?
Obviously, I'm concerned about the long-term health of this organization, but we have 71 games to go. More than half of those at Kauffman Stadium down the stretch. And I'm all for making smart moves, right? Moving a Michael Lorenzen, a Mark Canha, if somebody calls, a Seth Lugo. Expiring contracts, to me, that doesn't necessarily reflect a team that's waving the white flag. That's not true selling, moving Lugo, Lorenzen, Canha, in my opinion. But if I'm John Sherman, I think what I'm telling J.J. Piccolo is, yeah, you can move Seth Lugo as long as you can prove to me that it's not a white flag. And right now, to me, it is. It is a white flag, or at least if I'm J.J., I don't know if I can make a case to John Sherman that it's not a white flag because I don't know who takes his spot in the rotation.
I'm 100% with Vern there because there's certain moves like Canha, these type of things, even Lorenzen. To me, I'm with Vern. I don't think that's really waving the white flag. To me, making a Lugo move, that's a white flag. That's 100% what that is, Rob. You have to make a decision real quick because usually you say June 1st. I know you guys bring on Denny and stuff. He always talks about that June and stuff. But as we sit here on July 7th, you make a move with Lugo going forward right around the All-Star break or before the trade deadline on the 31st, that's 100% a white flag.
So here's my thing. I don't totally disagree with you and Vern. I think we're kind of in lockstep here. But I don't think that trading Seth Lugo is a white flag. I get Vern's point, and you echo it here. Like, if you trade Seth Lugo today, who jumps in the rotation? That's a fair question to ask. But I look at last year's by the Pirates in the brain. I look at last year's Tigers team, You know what the Tigers did at the deadline? They were 52-55. They were sub 500, and they were quasi in the race, but not really in the race. They traded Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers. Now, Jack Flaherty is very good. Like that. Now, he eventually re-signed in Detroit, but that was a player of Seth Lugo's caliber. They traded him. They also traded their best bullpen arm. And you know what? They had enough faith in their system. They had enough faith in their guys that, hey, we can trade these two pieces. We can still be competitive down the stretch, and we are stronger in the next year and beyond. The Royals could do that if Cole Reagans comes back and is healthy, which is a massive question mark. If you can get him back and healthy, you can trade Seth Lugo, and there's your ready-made replacement. Kyle Wright's been toiling around the minors. I know he had a setback recently. Maybe he in a month could be a guy that comes up. No one preseason was talking about Noah Cameron, and now he might be your second-best starting pitcher. So there are bodies to replace him. And I look at the Royals prospect list, and it's a woof. It's a lot of old guys who've been kicking around the minors for a long time.
A lot of catchers, though.
And then Carter Jensen is obviously a
Blake Mitchell, your top two prospects are catchers.
So it's either guys who are a long way off or, who are a little bit older than the level. So if you can trade Lugo, if you can trade Schreiber, if you can trade Lorenzen, I'm talking about expiring contracts similar to Vern, and you can make 2026 stronger, yeah, you take a half step back in 2025, but right now they're already a half step back in 2025 because the guys they trust aren't producing. So I don't view it as a white flag to trade Seth Lugo, and I think the Royals would be irresponsible to not trade Seth Lugo unless somehow they're in first place at the deadline, which just isn't happening.
No, it's not going to happen, but I do consider a Lugo move. I consider it a white flag move. I consider that throwing the towel in, you're done. Canna, things like that, it's no big deal. You just got to do what you can. And I keep hearing this notion that Seth Lugo, they could, because they technically can. Like if he goes somewhere else, they technically could re-sign him next year because he'll be a free agent. He has that option here with the Royals. They could bring him back. I don't see that happening. Once he's gone, I don't think you'll ever see him again. Now, is Kyle Wright the answer? Like you said, can you just throw him in there? Guy led the major leagues in wins a couple years ago with the Braves. He's been hurt. He's coming back. Is that a guy you could throw in there? Man, that's the thing. That's the thing. You see this team, and they frustrate you to no win because you see that offense and not scoring. But then they have those games, like against the D-backs at times, the first one and the last one. You think, man, I like the way this team is hitting. You saw it down in Texas against the Rangers. You said, wow, look at this team. Look what happens when your stars produce. Look what happens when Witt and Perez and Vinny are all on the same page and doing damage. And then you're getting production from the bottom of your lineup, like Cal Isbell's getting on and getting doubles. You think, all right, I like this team. So when you make a move like that, with a veteran player like that, I think it screams a message that not this year. I think that third wild card, man, I think it's a curse and it's a blessing I think it's a blessing for MLB fans to think, okay, we still got a chance. We're still in it. And I think it's really caused some concern with front offices. Hey, do we make a move or not? Because right now, as the Royals sit, they're 5.5 games back from that last wild card position, but sitting right in front of them. Well, right now the wild cards would be the Yanks, the Rays, and the Mariners. And then 2.5 games back are the Sox that are getting Bregman back. The Rangers still sitting there just 4 games back. 4.5 the Angels, and the Twins are 5. And I don't believe in the Twins. I think they'll find a way to screw things up because that's just what they do. But they're 5, and the Royals sit in front of them. So you'd have to jump the Twins, the Angels. I think that could happen easily. And then you got to jump the Rangers and the Red Sox. Very feasible things. You saw how good the Royals were when they went down and played Texas in Arlington. They swept them. And the Red Sox, I don't believe. Teams that are completely, I would say, out of it, even though Baltimore's played better. I'll give them that. Even though they're just 6-4 in the last 10, they have won 3 in a row. Baltimore's 7.5 back. And you say, well, the Royals just 5.5 games back. Baltimore's making it too close for comfort, to be honest with you, because they're playing better. And then you got Cleveland sitting 7 games back. So they're sitting, a game and a half back from the Royals. I thought this would be a 2-horse race in this division, the Tigers and the Royals. Clearly, it's going to be the Tigers division. Then it's the Royals. Can they make the wild card or not? But conceivably, you have the Athletics and the White Sox of teams. That's it. That's the American League teams that I would say have 0 chance to make the postseason. Other teams, you have a great week, you go undefeated for a week, and all of a sudden you're talked about again. Because I look at the American League, and it's so jumbled up, And a move like Lugo can change you in the standings. You sit 5.5 back now. You can make ground up with that. It's not the end-all, be-all. Definitely not white flag material at that point. See what happens this week. See what happens against Pittsburgh. See what happens against the Mets before we go into the All-Star game. But it's more of a wait and see. The old adage of you are what you are in June, I do believe in that. You are what you are kind of in June 1st. But when you have that extra wild card, it makes things different because you, quote, always think you still have a chance. Unless you're the Athletics, unless you're the White Sox, you got a chance. Wouldn't move a horse like Lugo. Yeah, if you think it'll help your team long term, I get it. But the thing about me is I look at this and you're wasting that elite talent. We talked about the Steelers earlier with Rodgers. Like, if they're not going to go out and just try to win, there was no reason to bring him in. Unless they went out and made that move for DK. You bring in Rodgers. They want to win now, and I get it. They're building things up. They have those 12 draft picks next year. Drafts in Pittsburgh, do it. But you got to maximize your potential. It's like having an elite quarterback. Are you going to give him a line? Are you going to give him receivers? Are you going to maximize your window? Because I see windows, especially in the NFL, teams don't capitalize on. What the Chiefs have done going to 7 straight AFC title games is ridiculous. Teams don't do it. They fall off the map. Look at all the Super Bowl champions that aren't named the Kansas City Chiefs. They fall right off that map as soon as they win it, and boom, they're on the back of the milk carton. But in baseball, when you have a pitching staff like this, like when do you ever see the Royals having this good of a pitching staff? That's the question they have to ask themselves. You're going to have this good a pitching staff next year, the year after? Probably not. You're not going to have it. This pitching staff right now is elite. You can win with this pitching staff. You get into the postseason, can you win short series with this pitching staff? 100% you can. Can you win a World Series with this pitching staff? I do believe you can. Now, you can't with these hitters. I get that. But you start jettisoning some of your great pitching staff, that's when you got problems. So you start losing a guy like Lugo, I think you have admitted to throwing in the towel, and I wouldn't do it yet if I'm the Royals. 100% wouldn't do it. But coming up next, more Tom Brady. Well, not Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes. He was speaking with Kay Adams. Already talked about what Tom Brady said about Mahomes and how he loved that and ate that up. But Patrick Mahomes also had some other key things to say that I think got me real excited about this Chiefs season in 2025. We'll talk about that next, especially the wide receivers.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison, host of the Random Royals lineup on 96.5 The Fan.
Baseball with the Royals.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
The best moments in life weren't meant to sit in a box, gathering dust in the attic or stuck on outdated tapes. They're meant to be seen, heard, and shared again and again.
Oh, look how little you were.
That's why Legacy Box exists, to help you preserve and relive your family's history. Imagine being able to text a video of your grandparents to your kids, or share a childhood memory with your siblings in seconds.
Wow, I haven't seen this in years.
Legacy Box makes it that easy. Just fill your Legacy Box with all your analog media. Send it to our headquarters in Tennessee, where we digitize everything by hand. And in just a few weeks, we'll send back your originals, digitized, preserved, and stored in the cloud, so you can easily stream, download, and share your memories. Anytime, anywhere. Join the millions of families that have trusted Legacy Box. Go to legacybox.com/value for 50% off. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off.
Hey there, Royals fans. It's Royals Hall of Famer Mike Sweeney. Have you or your kids experienced a high school coach who wants to make our Kansas City community a better place to live, work, and play? The Royals and the See You in the Major Leagues Foundation, together with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City, are shining a spotlight on 6 impactful coaches in the KC metro area. Nominate a high school coach today at royals.com/coaches with character.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small, loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Tiger, dragon, do you have what it takes to win? Be fierce like the tiger, strong like the dragon. Only the brave will. Only the brave will survive.
Yeah, that's not how these games work. With Tiger and Dragon from the Kansas Lottery, you can win up to $125,000 or $100K in a second chance drawing.
You are weak.
Ouch. It's not a video game. It's better. Play Tiger and Dragon instant games from the Kansas Lottery.
Let's play.
Yeah, that works. See kslottery.com for details.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Tonight, expect a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low of 72.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Have you heard? The Staples Easy button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples. That was easy.
Circa Millions and Circa Survivor are back with millions in guaranteed prizes. Details at circasports.com.
Circa Millions and Circa Survivor are back with a massive $21 million in guaranteed prizes. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere. $21 million guaranteed. Visit circasports.com for details.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Big problems on 35 southbound at 95th. The left lane is blocked. Northbound 35 before 435, right lane blocked. Northbound just past 119th, right lane blocked. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric Traffic Center, I'm Val, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back, Jay Binkley, Rob Britton. Just to kind of finish that up, Rob, with the third wild card. Text lines asked me. They said, third wild card, does it matter? Does it really matter in Major League Baseball? Well, let me put it this way. 2022 was the first year of the third wild card, and the Philadelphia Phillies were the third wild card in the National League. They lost the World Series to Houston. It was a 4-2 decider there. 2023, the Rangers were the second wild card, only by a game. Just a game separated the Rangers from number 2 to number 3, which was the Blue Jays. The Rangers won the World Series in 23, making the second wild card. Who did they face in the World Series? They faced the Arizona Diamondbacks, who were the third wild card team in the National League. So 23, you had the number 2 and a 3 as far as the wild card teams are concerned. The year before, the first year they instituted it, you'd have the third wild card team make the World Series. So pretty good track record of teams that very short working space since 2022. But it's very possible once you get in that dance, good things happen because there is proof that these teams can win from the wild card situation. So you look at that and you think of the Royals and can you make the dance? Can you get there at all? Well, you do have a chance because history would say you do have a chance once that you get there. Well, played earlier, Mahomes talking about the praise that he received from Tom Brady, all that. Discussed that. I thought he said some good things, talking about being unique and got to be unique and be a player or a quarterback that other teammates really respect what you're doing. But he also had this to say about his wide receivers that are coming back this year.
You won 15 games with a banged-up team, not your number one wide receiver, full complement. In that receiver room, what are you most excited about outside of hopefully health?
I think it's just going to come from everywhere. I mean, obviously, you got Rasheed being back. He looks great. You have Xavier Worthy, who came on so strong at the end of last year. You have Hollywood Brown healthy again. Guys everywhere. You add in Travis Kelce, a Hall of Famer, Noah Gray, a great tight end, and everybody that we've added to all those different rooms. Well, we have so many weapons. Let's go out there and just maximize it all. It's not going to be just one person. It's going to be the entire offense going out there and showcasing what the Kansas City Chiefs truly are.
There's a lot of, they did this, free agency, draft, the other teams in the AFC, and I'm like, okay, but the Chiefs are like, I honestly think it might be your deepest receiver room. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is going to be the deepest. I mean, it's hard to always say, like, you had Tyreek and Travis Kelce, Hall of Famers in the prime of their careers, and that it's hard to always say that it could be deeper than that, but at the same time, it's not the depth. I mean, it's going to be hard to make cuts because we have so many great receivers that we could be 8, 9 deep, the guys I can see making the roster, and that's what you want. You want competition, and we have that. Brett Veach, Coach Reed have done a great job of bringing guys in, and they've been competing, and we're excited to get to St. Joe, Missouri, and go out there, compete, and showcase who we are.
This is a deeper group if they all play. I mean, I liked the set of receivers last year, but all of a sudden you're without Hollywood Brown, the first play of preseason against Jacksonville, and then in game 4 last year, Rasheed Rice goes down essentially for the year, and Hollywood came back at the end, gave you 9 catches. But you essentially were without your 1 and 2 last year, and then all of a sudden you had a first-round pick, and Xavier Worthy saying, step up, young man, you got to be the number 1 force. Yeah, he's a first-round pick. That's great. But it was going to be just, easing him into the system, being behind Rice and Hollywood Brown, because he's very similar skill set to what Hollywood Brown is, but all of a sudden it was go time for Xavier Worthy. And I think that helps him going forward. That's why I think there should be a lot of expectations put on Xavier Worthy because of the growth he showed last year. He went from a guy just trying to acclimate himself in the system, being a first-round pick, to all of a sudden being relied upon, when all of a sudden you got to step up and be the dude. And he did. It took a while. The first couple games, throwing deep to him, the placement, being on the sideline or not, making those catches. That was concerning, but he fixed all that stuff and became really reliable for the rest of the season. Matter of fact, led this team in receptions and yards in the postseason. And he had a great Super Bowl, but I get it, a lot of garbage time stuff. But regardless, he was still leading receiver even going into that game. And, of course, he had a great game in the Super Bowl. But it is different having this group. And they've taken shots. Like when they drafted Sky Moore, they took a shot at Sky Moore and said, this is our dude. This is a guy, one dart. They're throwing one dart at wide receivers. So this is our guy. Hey, it hasn't panned out. The next year, Rasheed Rice, that was the dude. Remember that Friday night, the draft in Kansas City? They'd gone defense. And then on Friday night, the second round of the draft, they went offense. They went Rasheed Rice, and they went Wanya Morris. The only time they kind of broke away and went offense, and those were, of course, positions to, quote, help Patrick Mahomes. And Rasheed Rice ended up being a home run for this team because his production was just as good or better than any other rookie. I mean, that's not hyperbole. It's fact. Only Puka Nacua was better in yards and receptions than Rasheed Rice for rookie wide receivers that year. He was number 2. And number 2 at the bullet point, too, because, Puka, yeah, that was an outlier, man. That was the 3rd Rams 5th-round pick. It's not like he was not a given. I mean, to be a 3rd, 5th-round pick of a team, you weren't a given. Rasheed Rice was that dude. So they've built this up, and they have the same group coming back, which should be exciting because they understand and know the system. And it goes further than that, too. Speaking of that, Mahomes has even asked about this, even in his last press conference there on that Wednesday during mandatory minicamp but his final time speaking was that Wednesday of minicamp. But Andy Reid spoke on that Thursday of mandatory minicamp just a couple weeks ago. And this is very interesting when you're talking about that group of wide receivers like Patrick was talking about there.
You're not going we're teaching everything, getting out of the huddle, the snap count. That's where we started with some of these guys last year. So yeah, no, it allows you to jump start, line up in all these crazy formations. So you had to kind of back up on some of that stuff. And it's things that you, as the season went on, we were able to expand a little bit and then hit it running here.
See, that makes sense, and that should be a level of excitement thinking about this group of receivers because, again, you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes once. I mean, listen, Lynn Dawson was great here, but I understand that, in between there, guys like Alex Smith, great job. Did he win a ring? No. Go back to Bill Kenny and Taylor Thigpen and blah, blah, blah with Skurback. All the darts the Chiefs took at quarterbacks to get a guy. And doubt they ever see a guy ever win 3 Super Bowls with his team. You got to take care of him. But his wide receivers coming back is big. And Hollywood Brown coming back, on a side note, is really big for this team. It was thought that he was going to be one and done with this team. That was a great move by Veach because you're getting a guy that's hungry to come in and put up numbers because he knew he was going to be with Patrick and he was going to have Andy Reid calling the plays. And you were going to be on the Chiefs, which meant a lot of primetime games. You're going to get exposure. And then the injury happened to Hollywood Brown. That was a setback for him financially, personally, professionally, you name it. And all of a sudden, even I remember Brett Veach around draft time. Well, we got Hollywood Brown in here for a year. Then the injury happened. Then things changed. It's like, well, maybe Hollywood Brown comes back with the Chiefs. And I think some of that might have gone into drafting Xavier Worthy. Thinking, well, the same skill set as Hollywood Brown. He's going to come in here for 1 year, then be gone. We got the same skill set in the drawer here with Xavier Worthy. But now having him back is a luxury. And you throw him in the mix, and you draft Jalen Royals to add in here and what he can do. And that helps you withstand a suspension that could or could not happen for Rashee Rice. We don't know at this point, and let it play out. But at this point, he's playing. And every day. So you got to go into that mindset. But, yeah, this group of receivers. But what Andy said there is about you can throw everything in at first. The snap count. You think that's just one of these things. But that does matter, like the snap count for the receivers. But then he talks about the formations and all the interesting things he does with them. He doesn't have to hold back. And I think that was kind of the key of the whole thing, that he's not having to hold back with these wide receivers. He can implement things right away with them and throw them right to the feet of the fire because they are used to that from the previous year. So he's going in with the mindset that he can throw guys right into the mix, and it wasn't able exactly to do that all the time last year. So I think that was big for this group of wide receivers. And when you think about them, the group that they have, that stuff's important, man. What Andy Reid's talking about with knowing the plays and not having to hold back. I mean, I took something from that a little bit, Rob, that he's right. I mean, you think about it, and that's a group that's going to be counted upon because we know, hey, they're only going to be as good as this offensive line blocks. I think we know that, to really utilize their skill set. Again, they were really struggling last year, throwing the ball 25 yards, down the field, getting that. But that is kind of a nice feeling to some extent for Chiefs fans, isn't it? That Andy Reid really can do what he does best, and that's call whatever plays he wants.
There is no doubt that this year's wide receiver group is going to be better than last year's. Now, I will say this. You're right. We don't
with the same group. The same group.
We also, the same way it would have been if I'm sure if I pulled the tape and it was July 7th of 2024, I'm betting we were excited about last year's wide receiver room too. Now,
we were.
You can't anticipate injury. You never can. You can't anticipate, like, that just life sometimes happens. Football happens. Like, Rashee Rice injury is a little bit of a freak accident. A quarterback tackled him during an interception. That's freak accident. We now know was it broken clavicle, basically, whatever happened to Hollywood Brown? Relatively, rare that occurs. So, yes, there's no doubt on paper on July 7th, this year's wide receiver class is a much better for the Chiefs than last season. I will say this, though, and I don't mean to throw cold water on the fire. It's not like Hollywood Brown's a bastion of health in his time in the NFL.
He's really struggled with.
He's pretty consistently hurt. The broken clavicle is an outlier or whatever the diagnosis was, because he
was missing 3 games a year with Arizona.
He's consistently out in Arizona. He was out. The 1 year he wasn't out was in Baltimore when he had his best year. Also, we don't know about Rashee Rice's suspension. We don't believe it's coming in 2025, but the civil case is set to be heard in January 26th. Maybe if that and the criminal thing is settled, we'll have a better understanding. So there's a lot of moving parts to this Chiefs wide receiver room, but to now stopping the cold water, it is 1,000% better on paper than it was last season. And I really hope the Chiefs can regain some form with the offense, because I know they won the Super Bowl in 2023 and flags fly forever and we'll always have that win. The throw to McCole Hardman. We play on the open of the show every day. But in 2024 and 2023, Patrick Mahomes is pretty just average. There was nothing about his stats that you went, ooh, look how good that was. He was throwing 20-something touchdowns. He was throwing barely 4,000 yards. If you were to blind resume Patrick Mahomes' stats last 2 seasons, you would have not thought it's Patrick Mahomes because they're relatively unimpressive. Now, is that injury? Is that O-line? Is it offensive coordinator? I don't know. But I am hoping we get back to our roots, because Patrick Mahomes is too talented to be throwing Alex Smithian type numbers up there every single season. So I hope the receiver room stays healthy. I hope the offensive line stays healthy. And I hope, whatever other ailments this offense has had the last 2 years are cured, because I'm tired of looking at Patrick Mahomes' stats and seeing 26 touchdowns and 13 picks, because it's pretty blah from the quarterback recently.
No, I understand. When you look at the stats, it's a different deal. But it's the leadership and being able to do it. I mean, you just look 2 years ago. They won a ring. Do you remember how bleak things were that year? Remember when this team was 9-6? Remember that Christmas Day game against the Raiders? And the freaking Raiders came in here and beat the Chiefs. And then they could have gone one direction or the next, man. It could have been bad. They had the Bengals coming in the following week without Joe Burrow. And it wasn't exactly like a wipeout. I mean, the Bengals played them good despite not having Burrow. They could have gone in one of two directions, but you know what they did? They went to the postseason, and they beat the number 1, the number 3, and the number 4 scoring defenses with not a lot of great offensive weapons. Patrick Mahomes, and I hope this goes down in history when you think about Patrick and what he did more with less. Hell, I'll even give Josh Allen credit. I mean, he won the MVP. I'll give him credit because they scored 30 points a game. And there wasn't stars on that team. There just weren't. They had gotten rid of Stephon Diggs, but they still found a way to score 30 points a game. I give him a ton of credit for that. I mean, there's a reason why he won MVP. I mean, listen, Lamar had a great year. Statistically, he was better. But I look at what quarterbacks do with less. And I think Josh did more with less. But having said that, I think what Patrick Mahomes is doing more with less. The fact he's got to get rid of the ball, the fact he's got to worry about his right tackle being lined up on sides, the fact he's got to worry about his left tackle situation, a thing that quarterbacks shouldn't have to worry about because that's a stalwart, that's the blind side protector, but he's worried about it. And then all of a sudden when you lose your Hollywood Brown, you lose Rashee Rice basically for the season, and you're sitting there with like Justin Watson and crap like that at wide receiver, yeah, you won with less. So, yeah, his numbers were down, but look who he was throwing to. I could probably go around this office building and find just as good a receiver. I'm joking. But you know what I'm saying. Less talent, but he did more with less talent. So the fact is that you have on paper, you got Brown and you got Worthy and Rice. Because last year, man, it was the St. Joe Chiefs, I called them. It was highlight after highlight of 75-yard bombs downfield. That was the team the Chiefs thought they were going to the season with. That was the aerial assault. The Chiefs are back to being the Chiefs. Remember, last year they were 15th in scoring offense. The year before they were 15th in scoring offense. That's very un-Chiefs-like, with one of the best play callers the game's ever seen in Andy Reid and one of the best quarterbacks this game has ever seen in Patrick Mahomes. To be 15th in scoring offenses in back-to-back years, you're sitting here going, all right, what's going on? What's not connecting? What's not jiving? What's this team not doing? Because the year before they were first and then fourth before that, so you're saying, all right, this team's got the ability to be that, but they're not that. They're 15th. But they found a way to win a ring with that. And I give 2 years ago that run, I mean, when they faced the 1, 3, and the 4 scoring defenses in the NFL, and the only reason they didn't face 2 in the postseason because it was them, and the fact they faced the number 2, 3, 4, and 6 highest scoring offenses in the NFL. I mean, honestly, on paper, that's one of the best runs we've ever seen in the history of the National Football League, what they did when they got there. So that's the outlier. That's the asterisk. That's the leadership quotient, what they do, more with less, because that's what the Chiefs have been doing. But if you have a wide receiver group that knows what the hell they're doing, they know the snap counts, they know the formations, and Andy Reid doesn't have to hold back because it's a bunch of new dudes, and they didn't learn everything down at Camp Pat, practice with Mahomes in the offseason. All these things come into play. And the fact that they can do this now and have this group back, that's big. And especially a team that's got to be right because they've built up this defense. They've taken, again, one dart and you throw it. Jalen Royals this year, Rasheed Rice before that, Sky Moore. It's not like this team's drafting 2 and 3 dudes to be wide receiver. They're drafting one and saying, you got to be the guy, man. Didn't work out with Sky Moore, has with Rasheed Rice. It did with Xavier Worthy, in my opinion. That's worked out, and we'll see about Jalen Royals. Also, Patrick Mahomes was asked about something, and I thought this was kind of interesting. The NFL Top 100, they've started that now. I think Creed was what? Wasn't Creed in there like 93? It was ridiculous. It was way too low. Isn't Creed the only top 100 guy so far, I think it was Creed.
Yes, so far. I
NFL
Creed's-
Top
yeah,
100, which that's way too low for him. When you talk about the best center, that's way too low. But regardless, the NFL Top 100, clearly Patrick's going to be a top 10 guy. But where, that's the question. Does he even care about that? Keep in mind, Patrick Mahomes twice has been the NFL's number 1 player. Pete Prisco just put out his list. He put him number 1. He was number 4 last year. He's been as far as number 8 in his career. But does he even give a damn about the NFL Top 100? Because most guys do.
You've been for a bunch, sort of iconic relationship with the top 100 list. How would you describe that relationship this year? You know it's coming.
I know it's coming. I mean, but I know it's a year-by-year thing, and so there's a lot of great quarterbacks, a lot of great players in this league, and they can rank me wherever they rank me. At the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is win Super Bowls, and I don't care where I am on that list. No offense.
You've been for a bunch, sort of iconic relationship with the top 100 list. How would you describe that relationship this year? You know it's coming.
I know it's coming. I mean, but I know it's a year-by-year thing, and so there's a lot of great quarterbacks, a lot of great players in this league, and they can rank me wherever they rank me. At the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is win Super Bowls, and I don't care where I am on that list. No offense.
I love that, man. No offense. I don't care about the list. I love that, man. I love those comments, man. I don't care. It's about winning Super Bowls. At the end of the day, you only judge how many Super Bowls you won. I mean, that's in the end of the day, that's all that matters. Being top 5 or top 4, whatever. And again, it's kind of weird when they do NFL Top 100. I know it's an honor because you're being voted by your peers. But last year, you know, they didn't even going into last year's rankings. Remember, the year before was a lot of times the players get the votes and they vote in like November or something. And remember, it was pretty rough and pretty lean with the Chiefs then. Again, I brought up that Christmas Day game. You know, they were 9-6 at that point. But Patrick wasn't having the greatest of years, and that's when they voted for that. But in the grand scheme of things, I mentioned, he beat the number 1, 3, and 4 scoring defenses in the NFL, the number 2, 3, and 6 scoring offenses in the NFL in the postseason. Didn't matter. He just did his job. It didn't matter who ends up on the NFL Top 100, but I thought that was funny, just showing kind of what Patrick thinks about that. And, yeah, it doesn't matter. I do like when he gets mad about it, where he was picked in the top 100. I think that's actually good. I think fuel actually helps this team, and I love hearing that fuel. But anyway, this is what else he said, too, about how he's kind of tired of the talk. I think a lot of people in Kansas City kind of echo these same sentiments. Just play football, man. Just get to the games. This talk, it drives us nuts.
I'm seeing the terms revenge tour. I've actually said that one. I've seen scorched earth. Can you frame what your mentality is so I know how to talk about it?
You know, I'm honestly just ready to play football again. Whenever you lose, you kind of have this taste in your mouth that you want to go out there and revenge that or whatever you want to say. But at the same time, I feel like I've had to sit back and just listen to people talk. And I'm like, let's just play football and just handle it all out there. And I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to go out and show who we are as a Kansas City Chiefs.
Man, I love it. I love that. It's just, I want to talk a little bit more about that, about this revenge tour, and forget about what people are saying and just kind of what I've noticed about the Chiefs this offseason compared to others, because I do think in the grand scheme of things that will matter. We'll discuss that next.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Introducing the new Dell AI PC, powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, managing your schedule, responding to Jim's long emails, leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC starting at $699.99 at Dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead stay ahead.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
At Casey's, we're too nice to say no. So when someone asked for a free frozen drink, we said sure. Then they said every Friday all summer, and well, now we're giving away free medium frozen drinks every Friday. Free Frozen Fridays with Casey's Rewards. It's not crazy, it's Casey's. See store for details.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in Kansas City. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Hi, I'm Trisha, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, where we're all about you. Your style, your budget, your dream engagement ring. Are you looking for a style that's classic, modern, vintage, or something in between? Not sure? At Shane Company, we're here to help. We have so much style under one roof because a friend knows you like options. Drop by or visit us at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by Metal by the Foot. 35 northbound just before 435. The right lane is blocked. Also, same area, 35 northbound at 119th. Big backups in the area. I'm Val with the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric Traffic Center. 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
No Carrington today. He's doing something special. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton with you. Josh Vernier takes over at 5:30. Little Kansas City Royals, Pittsburgh Pirates action coming your way right here on 96.5 The Fan. Noah Cameron, St. Joe, starting tonight for the Kansas City Royals. Looking for that. Then, of course, the Mets come in this weekend. That's going to be fun. Kind of reliving that 2015 World Series, Kansas City, New York. Man, was that fun? I'll be going out to those games as well. My friend, Gene Battaglia, who he works for our sister station out in New York, but they're a Bills station. So throughout the years, since the Chiefs were able to trade down with the Bills to get Mahomes, I went on his show. He's come on here. I know Alex has spent some time on their shows as well, so it's been a lot of misery for him. Josh Allen 0-4 against Mahomes in the postseason. The fact that his team, the Mets, lost the Royals in 2015, a lot of misery. So we welcome our friends from Western New York coming in later this week. It's going to be fun. But I do like what Patrick said there. I like what he said about everything, the top 100, all that. But tired of the talk. Let's play football. This Vengeance Tour. You can call it what you want. Vengeance is great. I think really if you're the Super Bowl loser, you can talk about revenge. You can talk about vengeance. I know we saw Lamar Jackson kind of talk about this a couple months ago with the Ravens. He has revenge on his mind. Clearly, they have revenge on their minds with the Bills beating in the postseason. I'm sure the Chiefs always come up as well, kind of being that Achilles heel, that kryptonite for the Baltimore Ravens when it gets to the postseason, because it's been about the Chiefs and losing to them. But the Chiefs, they carry that with them. And I think they do take it to heart. I remember after they lose the Super Bowl a couple years ago to the Bucs and Tom Brady, Travis Kelce, after the game, is this team, was this a success? And he was like, no, because we didn't win the whole thing. I love the mind shift and attitude. For a long time in this town, if you just made it to the Super Bowl, hell, if you just won a playoff game, that was a successful season. But it's not anymore. The Chiefs are where the Patriots are. The Patriots didn't give a damn if they went to the Super Bowl. They only cared if they won it. And you could say that about a lot of college basketball teams. I mean, how many years in a row did KU win a Big 12 title, Rob? Was it 15, 16 years in a row? Something like all those glass bowls.
It was 05 to 19, so 15 years, 16 years.
Remember Bill Self used to have all those little glass things out there for the win of the Big 12. But did it matter to you, Rob? Because I've always wondered this with KU fans. Like, it didn't matter winning that. You won the win everything. Was just going to the Final Four, was that your kind of solace that you made it to the Final Four? Or did it matter unless you actually won the whole thing? Like, you don't care about the Final Four banner.
I think college basketball is a little bit of a bad barometer here because they call it the road to the Final Four, and making the Final Four in of itself is an accomplishment. Obviously, the goal is every year at Kansas to win a national title, but I never looked at a Final Four season as a failure. I know I in this show talk a lot about how much I hate Jalen Brunson and that Villanova team that waxed Kansas.
You consider it a failure for the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl and lose?
No. Going to the Super Bowl is a success.
Okay.
I would like them to be more competitive in the game, but that's still a success.
I mean, at the end of the day, they are American. They are AFC champions. I mean, Josh Allen didn't go to the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow didn't even make the playoffs. Lamar Jackson didn't go to the Super Bowl. Lamar's never been there. Josh Allen's never been there. So, yeah, there is a modicum of success for the Chiefs just going there. I just think they've gotten to this place now. I don't really look at it as a successful season losing the Super Bowl. I don't think they do either. It's like what Kelce said after that Bucs lost. Do you consider it a success or not? And he doesn't. And I like that. I like the fact that the Chiefs, during mandatory minicamp, they brought their AFC title rings and gave them. I'm sure it meant a lot to some of the players and some of the broadcasts or whatever, the AFC championship rings. But when a team has Super Bowl rings, those don't quite matter. I mean, I know Patrick was kind of joking about it, that he puts those on top of the safe and not in it. But I think there's some kind of a level of truth to that. You keep good ones, the ones that you want it. And on top of it, you don't really care what happens to them, but they do serve as a reminder of failure at the ultimate level where everybody in the country is watching you on that time and make their judgments. I've seen so many judgments made upon that game. I mean, even Kay, when she was talking to Patrick about, game 2, the Eagles are on the schedule. What did you think when you saw that? I think people forget, and I know they've forgotten, that just a couple years previous to that, Super Bowl 57, the Chiefs beat Sirianni. They beat Jalen Hurts. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. I think people forget that because it's just what happened this year. A couple years ago, the Chiefs actually beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But it's all Johnny come lately. What have you done for me lately? That's what anybody remembers. Only thing people remember. I've seen so much bull crap about things, and you can hear Patrick. He was tired of that. The NFL Top 100, like he's tired of the noise. Because all it is noise. Anytime they flip on NFL Network or hear a clown like Emmanuel Acho talking about, is this the end of the dynasty? Is this the end of Patrick Mahomes? I think the Chiefs dynasty ends now. I'm taking the Broncos to win the West or the Chargers. This crap is spewed all over the place. And they do it every year. And they never learn. They never learn. They keep hoping, but it never happens. And they're wondering, when are someone going to beat the Chiefs? They've been the 7 straight AFC title games, but you don't hear it. Anytime you hear the talking heads talking about the Chiefs, it's about, well, they're getting too old. Kelsey's going to be done. Mahomes is going to be 30. And I'm saying, what? No other quarterback in the history of this game has gone to 7 straight AFC. Every year he's been a starter, 7 straight AFC title games. Within those 7 years, 5 Super Bowls, 3 rings. No quarterback in the history of the game has ever been able to say it. I brought it up when I was doing Cody and Gold show, Alex. What's the ultimate, moniker of success? Postseason wins. Again, the Chiefs went 21 years. A baby being born and a baby legally being able to drink at a bar, 21 years without a playoff win. But you never, ever hear this stat. The most important stat out there. You never hear anybody talk about it, ever. Tom Brady is number 1 in postseason wins. I think I could ask 10 random people and they'd say that answer. But if I ask those same 10 random people who's number 2 all-time in postseason wins at quarterback, I'm probably getting Peyton. I'm probably getting Joe Montana. I'm probably getting Bradshaw. I'm probably getting anybody else but Patrick Mahomes. And that's a problem because they're wrong and they're idiots. Because Patrick Mahomes is number 2 all-time in postseason wins with 17. He passed Joe Montana. I mentioned watching that great series on Joe. It was great. 16 postseason wins, Joe Montana. The great Joe Montana had 16. Patrick Mahomes already has 17. Peyton Manning didn't win a postseason game till his 6th year. Hell, Mahomes does that in his sleep. Peyton Manning only has 14 postseason wins. Mahomes, who's not even 30, has 17 postseason wins. Never mentioned, it's the end of the dynasty. I understand when these guys are pissed, man. I'm like, I get it. I get the whole vengeance thing. When you're a quarterback and you have 17 postseason wins and I mean only, Tom Brady has more postseason wins than you at a quarterback, and you get disrespected like you do, hell, it'd piss me off too. It would, because you're not even 30. Again, go look at Steve Young's Football Reference page. He didn't throw for over 3,000 yards till he's in his 30s. Look at Drew Brees, MVP season and things like that, all in his 30s. Look at what Tom Brady did in his late 30s and 40s. Look at what Aaron Rodgers, all these guys did in their 30s. Patrick Mahomes hasn't even played in his 30s, man. Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer built their freaking career in their 30s. Mahomes hadn't even hit it yet. And yet we want to talk about the dynasty. Is it done or not? They're just starting, man. They're just starting. They know how to rebuild. As I mentioned, Brett Veach a couple years ago, this is what a rebuild looks like, as they drafted 7th rounders that contributed to the team. This team's going to reload and they're going to rebuild. They've proven they can do it. It's not a mystery. It's not just hearsay. They've done it. They've done it. What more do you need than that? Is the dynasty done? Mahomes, he's washed. He's done. We can't do it. Mahomes, he's not even his prime yet. He ain't even 30. Talk to me when he's 40. Talk to me when he's 40. See how many rings he has then. But it drives me nuts. But this Vengeance tour, they can say vengeance. I love the new haircut. It's all business. Listen, I know they were filming probably a State Farm commercial during this Up and Adams, but they've kind of stayed clear of all that. I mean, they've done a few. Andy Reid's done one. And Mahomes is in like an Invisalign commercial or something, but they're doing a lot less, man. They want their football to do the talking. And every time I hear that, I'll let my football do the talking, not the talking heads. What happens on Sundays? Well, with the Chiefs, it's Monday, Thursday, whatever. But what the NFL regular season do the talking. So Mahomes has that going for him. And I can't wait to kind of, well, during the draft, it's kind of you washed the Super Bowl out of your mind and you look forward. But hopefully the Chiefs can turn some heads. And nationally, they can stop picking the damn Broncos or Chargers to win the AFC West, in which the Chiefs have won 9 straight. The NFL record, by the way, is 11. They've won 9 in a row, which is absolutely insane. And last year might be the best, considering 3 teams from the AFC West made the postseason. But you won't hear any of that talked about. You definitely won't hear about postseason wins being talked about. And it should, because if you're not bringing that up, you're not doing your homework. So if you're not hearing that from NFL Network or whatever, screw them. They don't know what they're talking about. The Hit's next.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
You've got a wreck 35 southbound at 67th, the right lane blocked. Further down, 35 northbound before 435, multi-car crash. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric Traffic Center, I'm Val, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Summer is here, and that means longer days and warm nights, rooftop dinners, spontaneous getaways, vacation season, and romance is in the air. But if you're dealing with erectile dysfunction, all that excitement, it can feel like pressure and like you're missing out on something. Well, look, you're not alone. And more importantly, there's help that's out there, especially with my friends over at Heartland Men's Health. They specialize in ED treatments that work even when the pills and the herbals don't, with a success rate of over 90%. Some guys even last an hour or more. Summer should feel unforgettable, romantic, confident, not stressful. If your sex life is just good enough, then why should you settle? Your first visit is just $99, including a full medical consult, testosterone, and a PSA test, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if it doesn't work right there in the office, then your visit is on the house. Visit the website, heartlandmenshealth.com. With offices in Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City, you can get back in action as soon as tomorrow. Don't let ED steal your summer away. Reclaim it, and you can do that with Heartland Men's Health.
It's almost Andy Reid. When I landed in KC, I started doing commercials, the whole playbook. That's how I teamed up with Renner Garage Store. For nearly 70 years, Renner has been serving KC with the latest styles, top brands like Deldon, Amar, and LiftMaster, and the trusted service of a family-owned team. Get your free estimate today, and if you're looking for work, Renner's hiring installers with paid training. RENNER, forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Do you know a coach who goes above and beyond? The Royals, the CU and the Major Leagues Foundation, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City are recognizing those impactful men and women. Nominate your high school coach at royals.com/ 5,000/Coaches with Carrington.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Royals coverage sponsored by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, a contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Located in KC and Topeka, online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
If you're looking for that new career path, have you thought about IT? Think about IT. It's needed in every single industry, whether it's sports, healthcare, construction, manufacturing, you name it, and Centric can help you get there.
No better time in the city either. The KC Tech Council reported that there were 3,000 jobs added in IT in March alone. 3,000.
We've told you about our friend Russ Mondry and his expertise in this field. Over 16 years at Centric. He's going to help you find that career path. So go to Centric.com.
This week only, go to Peter's Clothiers to get half-off suits by Jack Henry. Choose from many colors and sizes. Peter's Clothiers, 124th and State Line. This week only, Jack Henry suits are half off. Come in today, only at Peter's Clothiers. Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Royals baseball. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Welcome back. Time for the hits. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton. By the way, I'm laughing, Rob, before we do the hits. The text line's like, so what are you saying? Flacco is better than Dan Marino? And I was just flippantly said, but just kind of kidding. I said Marino's postseason record's 8-10. Joe Flacco, by the way, is 10-6 with the ring. So I'm just saying, I don't think Marino is worse than Flacco, but the thing is, Flacco is 10-6 in the postseason and a ring. Marino's 8-10 without one. But I digress. Let's play the hits.
Your workday is over.
Oh, yeah.
You're headed home, and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number 1.
Well, Bing, as always, the hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Well, the top story of the day in Kansas City, Bink, is the Kansas City Royals. As over the weekend, they won a series, and also the All-Stars were announced. The Royals are going to carry 2 All-Stars. Bobby Witt Jr. made it yet again, and first-timer Chris Bubich is headed to the All-Star game this season for the Kansas City Royals. But Bink, it was based on the new MLB-selected, commissioner-selected, asterisk to get themselves in. It wasn't the player vote, and it wasn't the fan vote. Do you think Bobby Witt is disrespected because he had to wait till the third wave to be considered All-Star with his talent and success on the field?
I think Bobby Witt Jr. is disrespected if a guy that was once the number one prospect in Major League Baseball, a guy that finished number 2 last year, only behind Aaron Judge's crazy year that he had playing in a bandbox stadium, finished number 1. Bobby Witt finished behind him. Bobby Witt Jr. leads Major League Baseball in doubles, not by 1, not by 2, but by 5 doubles. The fact that his WAR and every other analytical stat you could say, he's fast, 4th in Major League Baseball in stolen bases, but nobody gives him credit. He just doesn't get those, national ads, Gatorade, Oakley, stuff like that's not knocking down his door, which I think is a shame because all teams in Major League Baseball would want Bobby Witt Jr. This guy is starting for Team USA that's absolutely going to be loaded with talent. This will be his second trip next year in the World Baseball Classic as a starter this time. I think he is disrespected. The fact that the fans voted a rookie to start because he's got a better batting average than across the board. Bobby Witt Jr. is actually better. A team that plays in Sacramento, and that guy, a rookie, gets voted ahead of Bobby Witt Jr. And then the players vote Jeremy Pena in as the guy that the players and manager vote went for, and it took the commissioner, which I'm glad they do this. I'm glad they divide this thing in 3s and let commissioners be smart about this and said, we want Bobby Witt Jr. But yes, I do think he is disrespected for how damn good of a player he is. And when you think about it, and when it's all said and done, when you're saying who are the top Royals ever, you're going to say George Brett, probably Bobby Witt Jr., probably Salvador Perez. That's your best players ever. So, yes, I think it's a complete disrespect shown to Bobby Witt Jr.
Number 2.
Speaking of the All-Star Game, Bink, one of the other top stories of the All-Star Game in the Kansas City Royals is not just who got in, but who didn't. You talk about lack of respect. Well, Maikel Garcia, not an All-Star, despite leading third baseman in average and second in OPS. He will be at home watching Alex Bregman take part in the All-Star Game in Atlanta. Bink, this is an absolute snub. We talked about it earlier, but my question to you is not, is he snubbed? Because that's an obvious yes. Why are fans not more frustrated with the fact that their starting third baseman should have been in the All-Star Game, but a hurt Bregman and other players made it in over him? Why is there not more uproar in the streets?
I don't know. I think fans need to take a reality check. I mean, we're talking the same fans that had Omar Infante leading voting because they love to vote. And we're thinking that the commissioner had to put Bobby Witt Jr. in because the fans didn't get it. To me, that's a bigger snub than Maikel Garcia. I get it. That's a snub. Any way you look at it, Maikel Garcia does deserve to be an All-Star, and I think he gets there, to be honest with you, because I know Bregman's probably going to come back this week, but I doubt he plays, so it will be and should be Maikel. But the fact is, didn't make the fan vote, didn't make the player and manager vote. Not a lot of respect shown towards him either. I think it's disrespectful. He should be in there. But I'm not totally going to complain about it because at least Chris Bubich did get to go. Finally, a pitcher did go. His elite pitching staff make it. So, and the fact that the Royals are, sitting 14 games back from Detroit, I can't argue it too much. But yes, in the grand scheme of things, it's a snub, but I'm not going to cry about it.
Number 3.
Well, Bink, earlier today on her podcast, Up and Adams on the FanDuel Sports Network, Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs quarterback, joined the show, and he was talking about all things Chiefs and was asked about his current wide receiver room, as last year it was spotty due to injury at best. Here's what the Chiefs quarterback had to say about his wide receivers in 2025.
You won 15 games with a banged-up team, not your number one wide receiver, a full complement. In that receiver room, what are you most excited about outside of hopefully health?
I think it's just going to come from everywhere. I mean, obviously you got Rasheed being back. He looks great. You have Xavier Worthy, who came on so strong at the end of last year. You have Hollywood Brown healthy again. Guys everywhere. You add in Travis Kelce, a Hall of Famer, Noah Gray, a great tight end, and everybody that we've added to all those different rooms. Well, we have so many weapons. Let's go out there and just maximize it all. It's not going to be just one person. It's going to be the entire offense going out there and showcasing what the Kansas City Chiefs truly are.
There's a lot of, they did this, free agency, draft, the other teams in the AFC, and I'm like, okay, but the Chiefs are like, I honestly think it might be your deepest receiver room. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is going to be the deepest. I mean, it's hard to always say, like, you had Tyreek and Travis Kelce, Hall of Famers in the prime of their careers, and that it's hard to always say that it could be deeper than that, but at the same time, it's not the depth. I mean, it's going to be hard to make cuts because we have so many great receivers that we could be 8, 9 deep, the guys I can see making the roster, and that's what you want. You want competition, and we have that. Brett Veach, Coach Reed have done a great job of bringing guys in, and they've been competing, and we're excited to get to St. Joe, Missouri, and go out there and compete and showcase who we are.
Now, Bink, we don't have to get into a whole thing about if this is the deepest receiver room he's had, 'cause I don't think it is. But I will ask you the question Kay Adams asked him, are you excited about this, I don't know what to call it, revamped or even retooled, but healthy wide receiver room for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2025?
Yeah, I think the health part of it is the number one thing to be excited about. Because I'll say this, too. Depth doesn't mean you're good. I mean, being deep doesn't mean, it's like having like 2 or 3 quarterbacks. Unless you don't have just one, how good are you? So depth, and again, there's going to be some scrambling there for the 6th and 7th spots. I think they'll keep 7 receivers on it. But, yeah, on paper, it looks great. Last year, it looked great on paper with Worthy. And then you had the rookie Rice, and he was going to be, or Xavier Worthy was going to be implemented slowly in the system. But then Hollywood Brown gets hurt in Jacksonville and played one of the preseason. Then Rashee Rice gets hurt against the Chargers in game 4. But the fact is, and the number one thing is pretty much what Andy Reid said about it last week at minicamp, or 2 weeks ago at minicamp, when he said, it's different because the guys know what they're doing. Like last year, you're trying to implement, Jalen Royals is new to the system and all this. I get that. But your core guys, you're Worthy, you're Rice, you're Hollywood Brown. These guys know what to expect. Snap counts, the trick formations, all the different formations Andy Reid does. Because he even said it. He goes, he can put things in earlier now. He doesn't have to wait. Like last year, he had to wait to put a lot of these things in, but he can go right there on day 1 of training camp up in St. Joe, implement whatever the hell he wants to do. And that's a reason to be excited about this group. Again, it's paper thin, but on paper they look good. You just can't have injuries.
Number 4.
All right, Bink, our 4th and final hit is, speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, it's July, which means one thing, list season.
That's right, let's go list.
ESPN put out a list today, all 32 teams, and who a surprise player for each team could be. We're not going to go through all 32. That's a waste of everyone's time and effort. But I will point out the Kansas City Chiefs on the list were shown to have Rashard Smith, the 7th-round pick running back out of SMU. Bink, do you believe that'll be the surprise in this Chiefs roster, the 7th-round running back?
Well, no, but I do like the potential. You're talking about a 4.39 guy that was a wide receiver at Miami before being a running back for 1 year at SMU. I like that low tread on the tires that he possesses, and it's just a tool for Andy Reid and Matt Nagy to create these, creative plays to use him out of the wheel route, in the slot, and the outside. I mean, it's a running back you can legitimately put at wide receiver, and he knows what the hell he's doing, which is different. But I think the real surprise comes from within. I think it's George Karlaftis, getting to that 12 sack, the career high in sacks, those type of things. I see him taking that next step forward. I think George is going to be that guy. If I said, what Chief do I think is going to surprise at the end of the year, and you're like, damn, man, that's really good stuff. I mean, I know that people talk about Noah Gray. Do you remember Noah Gray when we used to talk about him having 12 catches or more, Rob? Remember those shows? Me, you, and Carrington were debating whether Noah's going to have 12 or 14 catches a couple years ago, like his second year. But George Karlaftis would be my surprise guy taking that step forward for the Chiefs. Last year, 18th in sacks, number 2 the previous year, and the year before that, number 2. So I think this year they get back to getting to the quarterback, and I think that's Karlaftis. But for 7th-round running back, if he is indeed the surprise, and you're thinking all these great running backs drafted, and all of a sudden you're sitting there on draft night going, where are the Chiefs doing? Why aren't they drafting a running back like me? And you're sitting there in the 7th round, they make this trade for the Patriots and move up and grab somebody. Yeah, it's great. You like the skill sets, but don't forget 31 other NFL teams also spent 7 rounds skipping over him. Didn't see that value, but all the reports from camp in everything he did that is a skill set that I think the Chiefs could utilize. But again, it's going to be a pretty crowded backfield at this point with bringing in Mitchell, bringing back Kareem Hunt, and, of course, Isaiah Pacheco coming back this year. So I think it's a little bit more crowded, but the wide receivers, the running backs, I'm excited to see these guys. Like, that's one thing in St. Joe. Like, I am interested to see how they're going to kind of utilize the running back situation because I don't think all these guys make the team. I mean, the math doesn't work out that they're all going to make the team. What are they going to do with Carson? Keep him a fullback? They can even keep a fullback or just take a Jake Benningstool and make him an H-back, tight end / H-back, and he makes the team. I mean, there's so many creative things the Chiefs can do with this roster. But, yeah, Brashard, hey, being a 7th-round pick, he's got a little bit to prove. A lot of teams passed on him. He should have that chip on his shoulder because a lot of teams looked at him and said, we like your skill set, but your time at running back, we question that or breaking away from tackles. We know you got the speed. We know you can catch, but can we turn around and hand the football off to you on 2nd and 4 to pick up a first down? The Chiefs do have that skill set with other players, but I think a lot of teams are worried about that. So if Brashard is the guy and he's the biggest surprise for the Kansas City Chiefs this year, that bodes well for everybody involved. 100% bodes well for whatever the Chiefs want to do. The text line was asking me earlier, too. I wanted to address this. It's 913-586-7965, the J Southland Tow Service text line. They said, I don't see Mahomes throwing for 5,000 yards or 50 touchdowns with Matt Nagy. Here's the thing about it. That doesn't matter, man. Like, getting wrapped up in these stats and numbers and 5,000 yards, that doesn't matter. And why doesn't it matter? What happened the year that Mahomes had 5,000 yards passing and 50 touchdowns? Do we remember what happened that year? Do you remember them losing twice when they scored over 50 points? Do you remember the 54-50 Rams game that year that Mahomes had 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns? Do you remember every time that he left the field, another team was scoring on the Chiefs defense? It was Texas Tech 2.0 for Patrick Mahomes. When he was at Tech, 128th scoring defense. There's 136 teams this year in D1 football. There was only 128 when Patrick Mahomes last year at Tech. They were dead freaking last, meaning every time he was on the sideline, the other team scored. It's one of the reasons I like Mahomes because he had this mindset. He's got to come in and score a touchdown like every single time because the defense was that bad. So, yes, will the numbers come down? Yeah, I hope they do. I don't want a quarterback to throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. Sure, it's nice, man. It's nice to say, hey, look what my quarterback did. He's racking up MVP numbers and all this. Well, that just means you had a crappy defense. If you're putting up those kind of numbers and touchdowns and yards, chances are you have to. And you don't want that, man. You don't want your quarterback. I'm good with the quarterback throwing 25 to 30 touchdowns, 4,000 yards, 4,200 yards, if they're winning, because that means the defense is doing their job. That means your running game is doing its job. That means the running game is that extension of the passing game. That's the stuff that matters. The Super Bowl titles and those things work. So, yes, the text line is now asking me the 5,000 yards isn't good because the defense was bad. No, I'm not saying that, text line. Clean out your ears. I mean, actually, they sell these things called Q-tips at Hy-Vee. They're really good. You just go in there and you get them and you rinse around your ears so that you don't have to put a wick in there to light them as a candle. But listen to what I'm saying. 5,000 yards is awesome. But if you're throwing for 5,000 yards, chances are you have a bad defense. That looks great. That's great fantasy football numbers. That looks awesome when your quarterback throws for 5,000 yards. But do you really want that? I mean, honestly, do you want that? Because that means you have a bad defense. Because any time throughout NFL history, when a quarterback puts up big-time numbers like that, the defense sucked. And I don't think you want your defense to suck. Am I wrong on this, Rob? Because if you put up big numbers, your defense sucks.
I kind of agree with the text line, though, because in 2022, the Chiefs' defense was good. It was the first year McDuffie, Karlaftis, and all those guys, and Mahomes threw for 5,041 touchdowns. Like, the two
but
are not
it wasn't 50, though.
I mean, 50 is obviously a huge, huge number, but I'm talking about the yards. You can get to 5,000 yards without having to chase the score every single day.
Here's the one thing about it, though. The 5,050, that's great. But again, how much are you relying on Mahomes to do it? Like, again, I'm okay with 4,200 yards or 4,400 yards. If you're winning the whole damn thing, it doesn't matter, man. In the grand scheme of things, quarterbacks can be judged on how many times they win rings. That's all I care about. When your defense is bad and you constantly have to – that's kind of my point, though. If you're putting up big numbers and you're putting up these crazy stats, look at what he did in his MVP year. Look at what Mahomes did, and then look what everybody did that played against the Chiefs. Look at how bad that defense was. Look at the fact that giving up 50 points and losing a game. That's what I'm talking about. Big numbers that didn't come with any results. Rob Brenton, thank you, man. We had a lot of fun today, I think. A lot of fun. Josh Vernier comes your direction at 5:30. I'm sure there's a lot more talk about what do we do, sell or buy. J.J. Picola was asked that question today, the GM of the Royals, and he's like, hey, we got to figure it out. We don't know. Are we going to be sellers or winners? We just want to win games. So that's kind of the mantra of the Kansas City Royals. So anyway, Josh Vernier comes your direction next.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember,